Welcome, everyone. This is Saturday evening chat number 60. Today is May 15th, 2021, and it is Armed Forces Day. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to introduce Mr. New York Outcast. Welcome, bud. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was dumping oil into a jug. My apologies. Yeah, I thought you were starting off with the thing first.
Yep.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
So
thanks for having me.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play the Armed Forces medley, if I can friggin' talk, by the United States Marine Corps Band. So we're going to play that to start this off.
United States Army. The Coast Guard. And the Air Force.
So, again, with today being Armed Forces Day, I want to say a thank you to all our veterans out there. Thoughts of an Old Soldier, Keith Gregory, Rich White, I believe G Webs was in the armed forces, and of course we have Rob D, who was a veteran of services. So anyone else out there, go ahead, throw up what branch you were in. So again, special thank you guys.
I did it for the oil pan. I love that thing, man. Nice and flexible. Yeah, if you leak oil on base, it's a problem. But you might get out of it with a good pan.
Yes, today is for the ones that are still serving, and we definitely got to remember those guys and give them a special thanking also. Let them know that they're still appreciated, even though there's assholes out there that don't like them. So.
Seems like a lot of those assholes are in New York. So if you avoid New York, it might not be that bad.
Okay, so let's get on topics again. Everyone, I know we beat it into the ground, but we've got R&L displays. So if you need an AR platform to display, there is a great company out there making them. So I am going to post a link to that. Rob, you got anything to say about that?
It's good American-made stuff. Check it out. You mean like a sales pitch type thing?
Sure. Or any other announcements you may have?
I haven't. Don't really have anything like that. I know there's a new discount code out there. If there's anybody holding out, waiting for a better deal. So G23 has that available now.
I just posted that in the crowd. So use code G23 for an amazing 15% off. So that's even better than Outcast for 10%. So definitely.
And I was able to get a fit on Glock Mags today, so in person. So it was a drive, but what I had is good to go, so I can use that for a jig, and should be able to have Glock stuff out in about a week.
Yeah. So where did you have to go and drive to be able to test that out?
I had to ride in the PA, so it was a smaller gun shop. Honestly, I'm not even sure of the name. I'd have to try to look back, because I think I took a photo of the place. So basically, I've been trying to pop through anywhere that's available, but I keep striking out. So seen them there, they were open, so figured I'd run in and try it. And thankfully, the guys were very helpful. So yeah. And everything fit well and nice, and they were even playing with it and trying to wiggle and everything. So as far as I'm concerned, passed the test. So
great. So I'm gonna read who's all here. We got Nightshaft, G-Webs, Mr. DM Foss, Rich White, Mr. FNH, Dead Horse is out there, Burnaby Sanchez, Thoughts of an Old Soldier, Keith Gregory. I saw Vanessa Kitties out there, Delray Dan, Southpaw RX. So again, welcome everyone. And it looks like Foss says he'll be in just a little bit. He's running a little late. So again, I want to thank Rob for hooking me up with a discount code for anyone out here watching who wants to use that. So I will definitely link that in the descriptions of the video when we're done. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Figured I'd try to come up with something for some of the shows I'm on more regularly. So see how it goes.
Well, I'm honored that I'm show number 1 by default.
Oh, what do you mean?
You know, if somebody else would have had their show earlier, I would have been show number 2. Possibly.
Well, yours might have been punched in the computer sooner because it's shorter. So
right.
Is it? Does it really count? You know,
Yes, I guess that counts. Yeah. So, you have anything you want to talk about? I know none of us are getting any new firearms because, well, most of them are over damn priced.
Yeah, not too much. I checked out that site you sent me earlier, and in my opinion, that's a bit overpriced for ammo, although they did have some available. So,
yeah,
it's more than what I'm willing to spend. I don't, almost $1 a round's not reasonable to me. Yeah, but it is there for people if you want to share that info or whatever. But
yeah, so ammunitiondepot.com if you guys want to go and look for ammo. I know a lot of people say that they can't find it. There's 9 mil there. There's 5.56, 223, 7.62 by 39, 308. They have a bunch of different stuff. Now, again, ammo, their prices aren't the greatest, but again, they have it. So, if you're willing to pay it, it's there. I'm not willing to pay those prices, but I still look at, what I can find online to, if I find any good deals. So,
yeah, I think it was 84 cents a round for Blazer brass, 9 mil. And that was the cheapest steel case that I could find. I think that was the cheapest I had, 9 mil. And 5.56, 223, I believe it was the same, or 86 cents was the most affordable in brass. They do have red something and Tula steel case for, I think it broke down to $13.99 a box or something like that. So, I mean, that's still overpriced, but
now,
it's.
If you're looking for if you're looking for like 7.62, they have the Wolf ammo. It's like $9 a box. That's still okay price, but it's not the greatest. So yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could find brass for like 14 a box or something, but it's not working.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know it seems like I haven't really gone ammo seeking lately. It's probably been a good month and a half since I even really went looking at ammo. But at least the shops around here, they have kept it pretty reasonably to the normal price. Maybe a couple dollars more than normal, but they haven't really jacked it up to being $1 around like other places. So that is pretty good. And yeah, Rick, it's definitely, he was talking about Red Army Standard. That's one of the brands that Ammunition Depot has. It's Red Army Standard, Wolf, Tula, some Blazer, and White Box, Winchester White Box and stuff. So if you were going to be in the market for a new firearm, Rob, what would you be looking at?
I was looking at another 22 today, actually, but they couldn't sell it to me because it doesn't meet New York standards, which is debatable because, well, that's a long story, but needless to state, I have a firearm that I purchased legally from a gun shop here that has the same feature. I won't get into detail or whatever. It's not significant. But for some reason, PA, they're saying they can't, that it's, it's against New York law or whatever. And I tried to explain them, my M&P compact comes with its standard. Like, it's not a issue. Like, but.
And the thing is,
they just, the laws, they're scared. So.
What I think a lot of those shops and stuff think about is they base all their stuff off of what New York City rules are and try to equate that to the entire state.
Something. Or they just, want to play it super safe. It's pretty crazy, though. On the door, on the way in, they had a sign that says, "We have no ammo." And then you walk in and you see a bunch of ammo. I'm like, what the hell? And, but that's if you buy a gun, you can get ammo. I'm like, oh, okay. So, so wait a minute here. What, you got an inside shopper club card or something?
Well, and that is kind of a good thing, that they're going to have ammo so that if you buy a firearm, you're not, oh crap, well, I've got this firearm, but I can't get any ammo for it,
Yeah.
Well,
they only had, by stating they had ammo, what I mean is they had 6 boxes of 9mm and maybe 5 boxes of 223. And besides that, it was, I think they had some 30-06, basically a few hunting rounds, but they really didn't have much. Like, you could fit it in a milk crate.
We have been infiltrated by the co-host extraordinaire, Mr. DM Foss.
I'm up.
Crap, hide the cheese.
Just waking up, bud?
Yeah.
So.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Hope it's all right. I sent Night Shaft the link.
Yeah.
He's still out there. Sent it to you on Discord.
Yeah, we may or may not be joined by Carolina EDC and a brand new channel, Rangeboro TV. So he's starting out. He's a buddy of Carolina EDC, and he's appeared in a couple of Carolina's videos. So, yeah. I have.
So yeah,
Go ahead, Rob.
I was just mimicking you, saying. So yeah,
So yeah, we may have
That's
those guys.
that.
Well, I was having the thought, and then I looked over and saw G Web's comment, like Discord ? So, welcome, wheeled and well armed. How's it going?
Very good. Thank you, G23, New York, DM. How you guys doing?
doing all right. Welcome.
Doing good.
How's the gas going in GA?
I bought Sunday night when I first heard of the report, so I tried to get my wife to, and I got a huge tank. I'm not worried about it, and she works from home as well, so it's all back. I think the lines have disappeared.
Yeah.
On I guess it was Thursday. There was just zero traffic. I had to take my son to soccer, and we were there. Usually it's a 15-minute drive, and it was a 5-minute drive.
I said hi to you, Mr. FNH. What are you talking about? It's like you're not even here. So, welcome, Night Shaft.
Hey man, thanks for letting me crash the party. How's it going?
Good. So, I definitely want to say thanks, Wheeled, for getting those sites mailed out. So, I will definitely put them to good use.
Yep, you could be the first one to see the new stickers.
That
Should be there
that'll
next
be
week.
Did you change your logo? There's no handgun in this one.
Yeah, this is. I hadn't updated everywhere, but this is the old logo.
Okay.
I'll keep it somewhere just so I have a couple different versions. Keep my.
Yeah, I like the other one you got going on your channel. So.
Yeah, it's a lot more tactical. I think it's well armed, where this is just armed. This is kind of the fun.
I added you on my island, so you know.
You had me where?
Added you to my island, so you know.
Okay. What island?
At this point, it's just virtual. I'm trying to get everybody to chip in so we can just buy an island and call it Little America. And
Okay.
so I'm doing a layout. So I'll send you a picture here.
All right, good.
As long as it's
I'd
not
be
like an
glad to
Epstein
take part.
Island.
oh God.
Well, things are getting crazy. I need to move anyway. So, get enough people, we can have our own spot.
So I guess Defense Dad is out there saying that I skipped over him, but welcome, Defense Dad. I know you're probably still at work, so yep. So has anyone picked up any new firearms?
I don't know about new, but I did just recently do a trade. Surplus rifle for AR parts kit. If right now actually is a good time to trade, I think you get there's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of people who bought stuff that maybe decided they didn't need it anymore, or people who are really looking for things and nothing's available. So people are willing to move stuff around, at least in my experience.
Yeah.
I picked up a surplus Browning high power and a old CZ transitional. Two of my favorites.
Oh yeah, that's right. Defense Dad isn't working today. He had to go. He is doing a pistol course this weekend, so he said he didn't shoot off his foot today. So must be a good day.
That's always a win.
Yeah. Drop from a holster and put a round in your foot.
Yeah, no kidding. I guess segue into that. If anybody's going shooting this weekend, just make sure you have a tourniquet with you. Could save your life.
Yep. Depending upon where you end up getting shot.
Yeah, shooting yourself in the leg off the draw would be a perfect time to practice, I think.
I would tend to say, practice before you get injured so that in that time you're not panicking and not doing it right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I vaguely remember you going over a couple med kits, maybe about a month or two ago. And if you do buy like an IFAC or something, make sure that you take that tourniquet out and size it to either your arm or your thigh beforehand, and then put it back in your kit so it's already sized and ready to go.
Yeah, I have a My Medic recon bag, and it's out there for if I would to come across a situation, or God forbid it, I have to use it on myself. But yeah, definitely. I know for a while My Medic was offering free classes, free training and stuff based on what bag you purchased. So you'd get the basic. If you bought basic, you get more advanced. If you were buying the advanced packages, so you knew how to put in nasal passageways and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's lots of good IFACs out there. It doesn't take long to find one, and they're worth every penny.
Yeah, I do a lot with My Medic because of the fact that they're American made and stuff.
I'm cheap.
A lot of the cheap ones on eBay are at the plastic tourniquet that'll break on you. The part you spin.
Windlass. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure it's got like a Cat 7 at minimum. That's about the least expensive tourniquet that's combat proven and pretty much good to go. I think they're like $25 or $30.
And the rats are just as good, the RATs?
Is that the one that's got like that steel buckle on it, and they use it kind of like a surgical tourniquet for finding veins?
Yeah.
I haven't, when I went through my EMT certification, that wasn't on the market, so I'm familiar with them, but I don't know if they've been Stop the Bleed certified or not, so I couldn't speak to that.
What I hear, they work, but they're not as good. They're just more convenient to carry, from what I hear.
Yeah, cats are pretty bulky. You really have to have like a pouch or something, or like a lot of people, if they have like a plate carrier, they usually have those padded shoulder straps, and people will strap them inside those. But any tourniquet's better than no tourniquet.
Yep. You can say that about any med kit's better than no med kit. You never know when you're driving down the road and you come across a car accident,
Oh, yeah.
So
Now, does the standard like civilian class teach you to like write the time down when you apply it as well?
yes. So anytime you're taking, like if you take first aid CPR, just basic first aid CPR, they'll teach you that kind of. They'll tell you, hey, make sure that you're on when you're stopping bleeds and stuff that you're marking. When it comes with a bite or something like that, you can put a pen mark so you can see where the swelling and redness is.
Yeah, circle around, see how much it grows, things like that. Yeah, I'm just talking about like, writing with blood or pen or something on somebody's forehead, what time you put a tourniquet on. So I'm sure people will probably look at you a little funny. Yeah, see some of those do.
Usually, if you get an IFAC, it'll come with a little baby Sharpie. Now, if it's another thing if that's going to get covered with blood or not. But at least when I got EMT certified and when we got certified and stopped the bleed, they did tell you to write times. But they also did say that there had been cases like overseas and like Afghanistan where people had tourniquets on for up to 16 hours and still retained use of those limbs afterwards. So it's important. Yeah, it's important, but if you forget to do it, it's not critical. It's more important to get the bleed to stop. But yeah, there's reports from Afghanistan of people who have had them on for 14, 16 hours and still managed to keep their limbs.
Yeah, that's definitely.
That's a shitty day, is what that is.
Mm-hmm. That's somebody who got shot on a mountaintop in Kandahar and had to get helicoptered across the country to make it back to a surgeon.
Yeah, but you'd think that somewhere in there they may, try to stabilize without leaving the tourniquet on the whole time. Like put clamps on and stuff like that. But
there might have been a delay too and pickup.
Yep. Could also be a lot of things that happen out when you're out on the battlefield versus what happens in civilian life.
Yeah, thankfully most of us won't have to worry about when to take the tourniquet off. Most people can be to a hospital inside of an hour. And they're not meant to be taken off until a surgeon takes them off anyways.
So keep in mind, if you're hiking and you're off trail a few hours and fall and get severely hurt, that time can stretch quite significantly for the average person. So I would recommend not just shooting, but hiking anywhere where you're going to be away from help for a long period of time. That's a small item to have with you. Hopefully, you can contact somebody if you are in desperate need. And obviously, if you're hiking like that, you should, be prepared in some ways anyway.
Oh yeah, if you're out and intentionally going to be hiking off trail or out in the middle of nowhere, I would definitely suggest a GPS locator with a beacon, so that if something would happen, that they at least can pinpoint your location.
Yeah, or 3 rounds with a firearm for a distress signal, and hope somebody has a clue what the hell it means nowadays.
Not that you're just popping shots at them.
Yeah.
Shooting trash out in the gully. Another smart thing that you can do is if you know that you're going on a hike off trail, or you're going on a hike somewhere like maybe Death Valley National Park or something where there's miles and miles and miles of trail, tell somebody, like tell your spouse, tell your dad, your mom, your son. Be like, hey, I'm leaving tomorrow. I should be back by 2 p.m. the next day, so that if you don't show up, at least somebody knows that you're missing.
Yeah. And Lee, Thoughts of an Old Soldier, was commented, get a copy of the Special Forces Medical Handbook. So those are some good informations out there. I want to say welcome to Mr. Mario Mosen. So
I think you can download that for free too, because it's public property. You can just print it off as a PDF.
I know they got a lot of them for sale online if you search around. Even like the basic like CLS training and stuff is probably a good book for a lot of people to have if you're interested. So a lot of good information out there, and most of those, if they are, if you do find them for sale, they're very affordable, in my opinion.
There's a channel called Thoughts of an Old Soldier who did a video based upon some books that you may want to check out and probably buy. So you can always go and check his channel and watch and write down some of the books that he suggests. I know he's done 2 or 3 videos on different types of books that are out there that are very insightful books to be maybe adding to your library.
Another thing that you can do is you can buy old EMS textbooks on eBay, and you can get those for pennies on the dollar. And not only will that have, traumatic injuries, it'll have things like some basic OB, dealing with illnesses that aren't necessarily trauma related, all kinds of good stuff. None of it's super in depth, but you can get like the overhead view on a lot of different things, and you can buy those old EMS textbooks for like $5, $6, $7 sometimes on eBay.
Some of those other books like CIA Dirty Tricks and Booby Traps you might not want to buy online, in person at a gun show with cash.
Yeah, there's definitely some books that are definitely cash only books. So
Most of the military books look like a cheap knockoff for people that don't know. So if you're looking, they're usually like printed, stapled, and it looks like you use a typewriter to make the pages, at least from what I've seen. So just so you're aware out there, if it's like a military book, but it's like a glossy, all this, I'd be a little cautious. Would you guys concur with that statement, or?
All the military books that I have seen, I wasn't able to actually join the military. Every one that I have seen.
Sully sounds like he might have been in there. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Oh, Shafty?
A little. Shafty, yeah. Okay. And I know Wield, believe he served as
no,
well.
I wasn't ever. But I was an EMT. I haven't been in the armed forces. I've seen lots of trauma though.
So we have
Old Soldier might be able to confirm that out there.
Ailments.
Yeah, some of the military books that he has shown on his channel definitely were ones that it looked like somebody decided to print off on their printer at home. So, and I've seen some military books like that my dad had and stuff. And yeah, they definitely didn't look like they were, a book you'd find at Barnes and Noble.
Oh, the Naval Pilot Survival Guide. I read this was back in the 80s. They did a pretty good job on those ones. They were kind of look a step up from what Rob is saying, but not, like a leather bound book.
The ones Rob's talking about look like a quarter of a legal or standard paper they cut in quarters. So it's like 5 inches tall and 4 inches wide, something like that. And the type font type is, typewriter looking font.
So Mario says, for those who are looking at military books, the ones who are legit are the ones who come from Tradoc. It's usually stated on the first 5 pages. So there's some more useful information if you're out looking for military training books.
So here's some food for thought. Those all those manuals and pamphlets look like they were printed off by a secretary in some office. Yet the Air Force is spending $30,000 on a coffee mug. Crazy how the taxpayer money.
So I don't want to show the front page, but this is like this CLS type book where it just, like we stated, it's just like, looks like it's printed out kind of with a paper cover, and I've got mine taped together. Almost like a college report or something.
So I'd like to welcome our Jack and Daughters, Mr. 1000. So congrats on breaking 1K.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your help and everybody else that subscribed to the channel and has helped out to get us there.
Yep. So we have Patriot in the Dark out in the crowd. So he puts out a lot of great content. So how close to 1100 are you?
We're at 1,005 right now.
So 95 away from a possible channel friends thank you.
Oh yeah, well we're going to do a thank you, and yeah, it's going to be we're going to have a first, second, and third prizes, I guess.
So Rob's taking second, Foss is taking third, and Wield is taking first.
It could be that way, yeah.
Okay. If it comes out that way, it is not rigged.
Victoria handles all
Yeah,
that.
it is, because I should have been first.
Well, I sent you some stickers for Victoria.
I got those, and she's going to do a video sometime this weekend. A mail call about that, and I appreciate that. And we got our Dirty Boar box too. We're going to do a video on that.
That's definitely a very very thoughtful, because again, the gun cleaners shocked me when I went to place the order and told me that they were donating that box. So again, I definitely have to thank them for being I think it's a veteran-owned, Leo-owned business. So,
Oh, they are veteran-owned?
I believe they're veteran-owned, and I know they're Leo-owned. So they are law enforcement or former law enforcement owned.
That was a good value for what they put in the box. I can tell you that right now.
Yes, they are definitely. Rich says the gun cleaners are good people with good products. I would tend to say they have great products.
Do they have a YouTube page, or are they just Facebook and Instagram and all that?
I'm not sure if they have a YouTube page. I know they have an IG page, and I know they have a web page. So they definitely have some really good products. Have you tried? Have you tried any of it yet?
No, not yet. I'll do the video before I got a couple rifles I hadn't cleaned yet and pistols as I'll use them on. Try it all.
Yeah, if you watch they have a video where they show them pouring different gun cleaning products in like a glass of water, and then they pour a little bit of theirs in water, and you just watch their products sink all the way to the bottom of the glass of water while all the other ones like sit on top of the water.
Interesting.
So definitely looks like they have some good water displacement for protecting your firearms.
They do have a YouTube page. Rich found it.
Yes.
I need to go. I just subscribed. They only got 220 subscribers. That don't make no sense.
Right? As much as I'll have to double check that if I'm still subscribed to them. But I found them through Ghost Tactical and Clover Tac, and so yeah, that's where. And so I was like, you know what, I'll do a gift of giving out one of their products, just to throw some business their way.
Right.
It could be that sometimes I'll just cut out and stop thinking of what I was, in the middle of a thought, be like, oh crap, I got another thing I want to talk about.
That's called CRS, man.
Right? So the other day, I walked out of the room and went to go do something. Completely didn't even remember what the hell I was going to go do. I'm like, oh, fuck it, whatever. I'm getting old.
I wish somebody told me get
Damn,
old.
drugs are catching up.
Hoppy's number 9 is a hell of a drug.
Right? So, Patriot says, ask Rob if he's seen the new Navy ad and what his thoughts are.
That's it, Army. Don't
No,
like
I haven't seen any ads. I seen something not long ago where they were talking about the new flight suits and all that type of stuff, but I haven't seen anything relevant, anything recent, I should say.
Wonder if he's talking about I didn't see it, but I heard the audio from it. One that's basically a woke girl talking about all the woke thing that she did growing up before joining the Army.
You're not talking about the CIA crazy lunatic, are you?
Well,
it's definitely a sore boy beta male type advertisement that they're running right now.
I know Rich was talking about.
Makes sense. Sad to say.
I know Rich was talking about it. I think it was Rich a couple days ago. I forget on what chat he was talking about it, but yeah, he was. And he put out there, please don't bring that up. I haven't had dinner yet. So, I guess it's a pretty crappy commercial. So, I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on it.
Well, you can't because the Army disabled the comment features on a YouTube video of it.
Well, like I'm saying, I could watch it and then comment on my own damn channel what I thought of it, but I haven't even seen it, so I can't say how woke it is. The wife's probably Google searching it right now.
Is it the Army or is it Navy? Who? Somebody both.
I
It's the
think it's
Army.
the Army.
Oh,
It's
God.
the Army. It's the Army one, according to Patriot, and I said Navy. So, my bad. We got
All their recruiting videos on their YouTube page are cringe, woke crap.
I see we have Bald and Curious out in the crowd. So, welcome, Bald.
I wonder what they hope to accomplish with an ad like that. Certainly not finding capable shoulders.
Well, they got to try to figure out how to get people in, because recruitment for most of the military branches are way down. And again, anytime you've got some far left leaning president, your recruitment for the military is going to go way down. You can watch it almost all the time, and they just devastate the military.
It's not so much recruitment that's hurting them. What's hurting the military is retention. Because what they do is that,
Tell you something right there.
right, because what happens is you get toxic leadership, toxic NCOs, toxic chief petty officers, and all the good enlisted will bug the hell out.
Yeah, because high school kids, they don't know what's going on, and they just join regardless every year, like normal. It's the retention, or it's like, remember when one weekend on a Friday night, Obama fired 800 majors out of the military just to thin out all the alpha males out of there, and that devastates, the future generation of officer candidates, for higher level, because that's kind of that cutoff year. If they don't make lieutenant colonel, by 10 years or 15 years, their career's over. So if they remove all those majors that are right leaners, hardcore guys, then they're gonna have a wussy army.
We had a colonel. He was passed over 3 times for brigadier, and instead of retiring out, he took a grade reduction down to chief warrant officer, so he can stay with because we just got the Cannon Cockers got the HIMARS in to replace the MRLSs, and he wanted to stay with the program, so he did another 3 years as a chief warrant officer. But when he retires, he'll retire as a full bird colonel. Is this Gun Island?
Yeah, I forgot.
There it is. Looking good.
All right. It's just a quick outline, just to give you a visual. So, you don't have to send me the money. We can go talk to the people together, but we should chip in on an island and say the hell with this shit.
I kind of like where my location is, right there, beachfront property, not too far from Wheeled and Well Armed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I got
Rick
the
is the
Ridgeway
neighbor.
guy on the boat. Big boat.
can we vote midnight off the island?
Cooks are useful, man. You don't want to mess with cooks.
Hey,
I figured Foss would be more worried that he was right next to a giant gas leak.
We got guns and barbecue cooking.
Yeah, we got guns and barbecue, so
Yeah, I guess Gizzard Gary.
yep. Looks like we got Ozzy up in the mountains.
Yeah, he's barking at the moon. That guy. You can't keep him grounded.
Looks like you got Jason Stewart out in a little schooner.
Yeah, he's top shelf spoiled guy. He just comes to resupply, you know him. Pick up the ladies.
Who's
So
that?
come
in
on, it looks
the
good,
hut?
right?
Who's that in the hut in the bottom right?
That would be Squib Load or Squib Lift.
Yeah, he's standing there on the porch in his pink
Right here.
shirt with an AR.
You got Kingpin
Yep.
here. Budget over here. Night Shift. Patriot in the Dark. That's kind of rude. You got the two blind guys sitting next to each other, so that who's there to help them get go around?
Hey, there's safety in numbers.
Yeah, I was gonna have him on the top of the hill, but I figured that'd just be wrong. So I don't know. They stick together. They segregated themselves. I got nothing to do with it.
Defense Dad says I got voted off the island before the first episode.
Nah, he's in there. It's around the back left side.
He's hidden by the mountain.
He was just getting off
Had
work.
bad
He's
trip
on
on
the
the
plane.
plane. Had to go home before it started.
Oh, that must be where I'm at too.
Right? Yeah. You guys are hidden over by the mountain. You can't see it.
Just the first draft. Don't get your panties in a bunch.
Just make
So
sure
let's
to
pull together and make this happen. Come on, folks.
keep everybody spread out so the island doesn't flip over.
So, Patriot in the Dark says, wait, what was that? I was outside at the grill. So we had a map of Gun Island from Rob D on the screen, and you and Guns and Barbecue are close together sharing property if you guys want to help buy the island.
I didn't see a bar on the island though, so.
Oh, there's definitely. See, what everyone thinks
Yeah,
is
it's a tiki bar right by the pond over there, waterfall thing.
I was gonna say you also have, you know for a fact,
Was there?
Squib is gonna have a huge bar inside his little hut. I mean, if you ever watch any of the videos that Squib makes where he's mixing drinks,
Yeah, what's paradise without 6 or 7 Bahama Mamas?
Be great. Have a nice range set up. Well, have a blast. Any riffraff that washes in, we'll just use to keep adding onto the island.
Hey, we could use Hunter Biden as a bargaining chip.
Or mortar.
Cannon fodder.
Target practice.
Right.
Steal a scene from 300.
I don't want him. I want that cocaine head falling down on my side of the island now.
don't worry, he'll just be stiffing your sand, looking for the next crack rock.
Yeah, you can pay him to go pick up spent brass with Parmesan cheese.
Right? Pay him in Parmesan cheese.
Just go pick up brass all day.
I just had a conversation with a guy earlier that kind of shows the flow of the area, I guess, but it's a little upsetting in a way. This guy just started basically when all this COVID crap kicked off. Work kind of boomed on the construction side because everybody's sitting at home. This guy ended up going out buying a truck, trailer, brake, all types of equipment and everything. Going to start his own crew. Well, he was working through subs and things got funny, this and that. Guy couldn't find anybody to work, and that's what reminds me of it. He was like, everybody I found is a freaking meth head. Like, they're just so goddamn slow. What happened to the good old crackheads, And it was just cracked me up. The crackhead will shingle all day long to get paid at the end of the night, Meth head's just sleeping on the job all goddamn day. It was hilarious, but unfortunately, the guy couldn't find anybody decent to work with him. He's down the street from me, so he was basically begging me every time I left the house, but I'm already signed into stuff. I can't just cut out like that. So unfortunately, he took a loss, sold all his shit and everything, and now he's looking for the next thing. So I think it was a shit deal starting that right before winter and everything. And, you can't start something and expect to succeed from day one. Like, business doesn't usually work that way. So I don't know. It's just a sad deal all around. But apparently the goddamn meth heads are taking over the trade here and destroying it, apparently.
Yeah, you should see some of the RV plants that I go into. I sell them parts, and like they'll just be sitting there sweating through their clothes, talking to themselves while they're building shit. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'd be scared to walk into an RV park. You're crazy, man.
So,
stay a wide berth from all the propane tanks.
So to answer G-Web's question out there, that was probably the wife's cat that made a nice meow and made you think it was in your house.
She put her on. And she gave me 2 thumbs up on that last hike video. You gave me 1 thumb. What were you doing with your other thumb? You know what? Don't even tell us. But she's obviously cooler than you are. She should be the host.
I was stopping the bleed. Put your thumb in it.
Oh.
Yeah, plug in a hole.
Hemorrhoids kicking in again, huh?
Will you help it out, Kentucky? Is that thumb?
Exactly. So, Rob says that you should be hosting since you gave him 2 thumbs up and I only gave him 1 thumb up.
He's right.
Yeah. She's got to be better looking than you, too.
Probably way better looking than me.
So what I have to do to get that second thumb, man? What was I lacking?
Oh, you know.
Are you prepared to find out?
This takes a background.
I think it was. I think the reason the second thumb didn't appear was because there was a M&P that got left out in the hills. So there was some definite negligence in that video.
Oh, you seeing that, huh?
Hey, I shot an M&P for the first time last weekend. Not too bad.
Wow, really?
There we go.
I was gonna say, what firearm did you use to shoot it? Was it the H&K or was it the Glock?
No, it was a M&P Compact, the 40. The guy took to the range. It was his, and it did at 40 feet. It was pretty accurate.
That doesn't.
Yeah, they're nice little pistols. Good value for what they are. I have one.
Yeah, I just like to give Rob crap on his M&P. It's the thing that between him and I, he talks mad smack about my Glock, and I talk mad smack about his M&P.
Haters gotta hate.
That's right. I guess that sword cuts both ways, huh?
Well, yeah, at least I saved money on Loctite.
I've never fired one. Never fired an M&P either.
Oh, dirty man, you. Why not?
I've got a.
Too cheap for you, CZ guy?
I've never even seen one.
Oh,
Well,
Who left that one?
You never seen it at Smith & Wesson M&P?
Well, I hadn't really looked for one, I guess. I think I skip over that counter when I get to the gun
So I've got a.
gun shelf.
He chooses.
He goes
not
to the
to,
top
you know.
shelf.
I'll skip from Taurus over to whatever comes after that. Smithfield.
he goes from Taurus to Sig to CZ
Yeah.
to Kimber. You know,
Yeah. Jericho.
IWI.
Well, for us regular folk, don't overlook the M&Ps. Great guns. Great gun. Might not be for you, but they work. They're good for the money. Plenty of accessories. Shit, I can't even talk. Plenty of extra stuff you can do to it, similar to a Glock. And in my opinion, a better warranty, or at least they did. I think Glock now has a lifetime. Maybe I'm wrong. But M&P's had the lifetime. So, and on top of that, I called just about a question because I'm a dumbass and misnamed a part in a gun and everything, blah, blah, blah. They ended up sending me a bunch of parts I didn't even need for free. I told them I didn't need them, but they sent them anyway. And they were there like the next morning. I couldn't believe it. So I even got a bunch of spare parts. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
So what
Smith
you're
has a good
saying is-
warranty. I will say mine. I have a first gen M&P.
Me too.
You can go ahead.
So what you're saying, Rod, is that unlike a Glock, you don't have to spend another $300 to upgrade the trigger and everything else on it, huh?
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people complain about the triggers. I mean, I shoot well with it. I mean, I'm no Jerry Mitchell-ick, I guess, but I can hit a 20 gauge shotgun shell at 20 feet with it. I mean, that's not bad with like my Shield subcompact. I don't think it's bad. I don't know. Can I shoot, the wings or whatever, hair off a flea's ass? Probably not, but it's not really a target gun like that. So, but yeah, I think they're good guns. Like I said, I've owned a Glock in the past. And shot that well. So I don't want to, disappoint anybody out there. But at the same time, I just like the M&Ps better. But again, it's just me.
I have both. I don't care. I like them both.
So, Defense Dad wrote a comment out there to you, Rob, so I'll let you read it. What were you going to say, Shafty?
Need to get HKs down to M&P prices.
Right. I can say this on the gut from the gun seller perspective. There's only really 3 companies that's been able to keep up with sales, at least on what I have seen from our little part of the world, and that is Smith & Wesson, Taurus, and Janik. I mean, think about it. Smith & Wesson launched a brand new pistol in the middle of a pandemic, and they're in stock. And then
Smith & Wesson's badass like that, man.
Now quality, I'm gonna talk bad about the quality control too, because we've had 2 issues with the
Oh shit.
M&P rifles. I'm gonna call it out like it is. I like both. You know, I got a shit ton of Smith and Wesson. So the first M&P AR we found, the barrel nut was over torqued. When we broke the barrel nut loose to replace the handguard, it shared the pin off the barrel extension. It didn't break the upper receiver, but it sheared the pin off the barrel. And I walked in this morning, and we had an M&P that we sold, Sport 2, that was not cycling. Well, after we took the gas block off, we realized they didn't drill the hole for the gas port.
Well, that's pretty
Sorry about
crappy.
that.
I'll have to admit
Asked me
that.
up my mic and I dropped out.
But you know, really, what all that is just poor QC. They're producing at breakneck speeds to get the rifles and pistols out. So you're going to have some QC problems every once in a while.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
it's all in the numbers. You know, if it's too many problems, then that, you know, that's down on the company in a sense. But when you're pushing out, I don't know, I'm guessing thousands a day, you got to assume, you know, you might have a goof here or there. So, but I think that's any company out there. So, but yeah, hopefully they're not on a downward turn.
Right.
That would be disappointing.
But even if they are on a little bit of a turn down, that's not too bad because they're not like SIG who has to recall every goddamn gun they put out.
So I want to say welcome to Echo's Reloading Chamber. And so, Shafty, what were you going to say on the Smith & Wesson? Are you there, Shafty?
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Sorry. Messing with my microphone settings.
You know,
Sounds pretty good now. So what were you about to say on the...
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear
Yep.
you. So what were you about to say
Okay.
on the Smith & Wesson?
Oh yeah, I have a first gen, and I really do like that pistol. But if you do find like a LEO trade in, they do have god awful triggers, and you can improve them with the aftermarket. But just if you buy a first gen M&P, be aware of that.
Yeah, that's one thing. At least for carry firearms, I never ever do anything to the trigger. I keep that thing as stock as I can because I'm not going to give any defense or any prosecuting attorney any kind of argument that I was possibly looking for a fight. So
I would. I've considered it. Actually,
Yeah, I
I
don't-
might at some
I
point,
don't
but
carry that one.
yeah, I'm a
um,
quadriplegic or tetraplegic, so I touch every trigger. And I did try M&P, and that was why I never picked up a second one because I couldn't fire my brothers. It was like a 6-pound trigger or something like that.
Now,
I think
there's another thing you can do.
having a better trigger is a good thing in a sense. I know, you know, a DA may come after you with it, but you know, having I guess you could compare it to a sharp or precision tool, I think is better than something sloppy. You know, I know they could state, I think the only time it might be a problem is if you tried to say, oh, I didn't mean to shoot. You know, I don't know what happened. You know, that might be an issue. But, you know, in most cases, if you're drawing your gun, it's probably to shoot. You know, you might get lucky and the problem stops. But, you know, more than likely, I want to be 100% of where that round goes. So I think, an upgrade to make that happen, if that helps you, is probably a good thing. But because you are in the end responsible for that round. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not a DA either, but I would debate that fact that, scared to do it because of that in a sense. But that's just me.
So what you're saying is you meant to pull your taser.
What's that? No, I meant to pull my taser. No. What I'm saying is, if I pull the trigger on somebody, I'm intending to stop the threat. You know what I mean? I'm not, so if I made that decision, that's, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't want to, if I can hit a golf ball versus a softball, I'd rather hit the golf ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Every bullet has a lawyer.
Right. That's not. You also got to think about too. By the trigger thing. That's why I'm not scared by that, because what if you shoot somebody with your brace pistol and you're not handicapped? Why do you have a brace on that pistol to begin with? It opens up a whole box of worms that nobody wants to get into.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you have Glock money and you don't like Glock triggers, for example, another thing you can do is just go buy a CZP-10 and get a similar pistol that's got nicer sights and a nicer trigger out of the box.
I would just buy a
The mag's expensive for that one.
Right about the same price too.
So, has anyone seen the new teaser video that Taurus put out?
Yeah, I saw it. I think it's going to be a single stack Glock and Piece 365 crossover.
Yeah.
Is that GX4?
Well, that's what everyone's talking about, but I mean, they haven't actually. Taurus hasn't really said what it's going to be. It's supposed to come out on the 19th, so I think it's Wednesday. Yeah, it looks like it's a single stack Shield plus 365 and Glock 43X, like smashed together to make a single firearm. Kind of looks like what it looks like to me.
So is it Shafty or RTAC that has the chickens?
Oh, that's me. I'm sitting outside. I got the chickens by my feet. That prepper life. You know what's up. Speaking of that, though, did you see that lawsuit from Sig Sauer to Springfield on copyright infringement or patent infringement on the Hellcat for the magazines?
I've heard that Sig was suing Hellcat over that, but I haven't really looked into any of it.
That makes me wonder if there's going to be one for Taurus coming down the pipeline, because they've been developing that pistol for probably a year or two.
Well, I guess it all really depends upon what their mag looks like. They really haven't shown anything of what the mag is going to look like, or anything like that I have seen.
I would say it's a safe bet that Matt Gar is going to make Taurus's magazine for that new pistol.
Oh yeah, more likely than not, Metgar is going to be making them.
Oh, you think it's gotten to the point that guys think it's gotten to the point where it's just cheaper for them to pay royalties on every mag than it is to R&D their own mag.
Yeah, but they make less money because that's where
So
they
do you
make
know-
money.
Yeah, I can tell you from a sales perspective, from selling firearms, there's not a whole lot of markup on guns, and the big markup is on magazines. He's absolutely right.
So, Thoughts of an Old Soldier says, so let's say you have a high point. It works. It does what it's intended to do. Is it a bad gun? Just stirring the pot. You know, there's pretty much only one company
No.
that I am going to like talk mad crap about.
Springfield.
Nope. No, Sky. I mean, I've seen so many damn problems with their firearms and everything. And I've shot a Sky one time and had problems with it. So I would never purchase one. No, I've heard from other people that they have them and they run fine, blah, blah. You know, I wouldn't trust. And with a high point, I may not like them, but the fact is if that's all you can afford, or that's just your first firearm to break into the market, it may not be one I would advise people to get, but they're still damn good. You don't hear a whole lot of crap about them except the fact that they make perfect hammers.
Can I counter your point?
Go for it.
I would absolutely not recommend a high point if it's going to be a carry gun. Here's why. There is not a single manufacturer of a quality, safe holster to carry that gun. Nobody
I'm
makes
sure
a
somebody's
Kydex
making
holster for it.
pilots.
I haven't seen any. And I wouldn't carry anything you can't get a quality holster for.
My very first.
I'd state, I don't know.
I think 1791. I think 1791 Gun Leather actually makes a holster for the high point.
If somebody
I'd
makes a
state
quality
as soon as
holster,
an individual makes.
but
Go ahead, Rob. What were you
As soon as
saying?
the individual I was going to say, as soon as an individual makes a decision not to be a victim to fight back, you're the weapon. The gun's just a tool. Whether it's a knife, whether it's a damn shovel or a brick on the side of the road, you're the weapon. If all you can afford is a high point to protect your home, by all means, buy that high point. Is it a good gun to carry? No. It's big, it's bulky. But if that's what you had to do, by all means, make it work. They sell a bunch of nylon holsters you can fit anything into. Is it pretty? Is it nice? No. But, you know, it can do the job. So I'm not picky on that, or I don't want to look down on a high point in a sense. I see that as a very bottom getting into it, with a lot of sketchy people that are just buying a gun to have one because they're worried about crazy Uncle Joe next door or something like that. You know, and for that purpose, I think it serves a purpose. And, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a $2 gun that saves your life. If it does a job, it does a job. It may not be ideal. You know, some mechanics like Snap-on, some like Harbor Freight, but you can still fix the car. You know what I mean?
So I did a real quick Google search here. Fox Holsters makes one for the high point. Phobos makes 2 different types, and Alien Gear makes one for them. And my very first pistol was a high point, and I had to polish the feed ramp on it, but after that, it ran really good. I used to shoot matches with it. Bowling pins we used to shoot up there in Kentucky every Wednesday night at 10, 15 yards.
yeah, and if there's good holsters out there now, and stuff comes to market every day. If there's good carry holsters, I feel better about people carrying it. I just unsafe holster practice leads to lots of NDs, and that's what worries me. And Dan, you said something about not liking Skies. I think the biggest problem with Sky is they're kind of disingenuous in their marketing. They claim that it's a plus P rated pistol, but if you actually read the manual, it says not to fire more than like 100 rounds of plus P ammo through them. And I think that's why they blow up constantly. But I blame them for doing that because they do market it as plus P rated, but they neglect to mention that fact unless you actually read the manual.
I
don't really care for a burster. The reason I don't care for them is you can't fix that trigger. It's just a bad trigger always on those burster thunders.
I agreed.
So the Sky that I got to shoot, my buddy had bought for his daughter who was getting ready to go off to college. And so we went out and we were, testing it and everything. And we put we attempted to put 100 rounds of regular 9mm through the damn thing. And after probably about 70 rounds, we were like, you know what, this is just junk. We were having so many misfeeds, failure to fires, and failure to extract that we were like, you know what, there's no way we could say, yeah, let your daughter have this when she's going off to college. So that was my problem that I had with the Sky. We didn't even put any plus P or plus P plus rated ammo in there.
To be fair, was it a clean, lubricated gun?
It was brand new right out of the box, and so yeah.
A good pistol should run right out of the box.
And that's necessarily
they
clean.
But I've found burrs and slides and stuff in firearms too, where it would have ran, but it would have made a little scratch, micro scratches, or this or that. I still like to clean everything, break it down for when it's brand new. But I was just curious because maybe there was something similar within the pistol too. So if you want to give it a fair shot, yes. But, not that it shouldn't still work. Like, I agree, but like anything machinery, people can say what you want, but metal rubbing on metal wears.
Yeah. So. I didn't shoot it a second time. He took it home, tore it all apart, and then he took it back out a couple other times, and the problem was still there, and so he even sent. I
agree. I mean,
he sent it back to him.
Probably don't.
Yeah, and I've heard other people that have the same issues with them. So I probably would never give him another shot, but that's just me. I'm not going to say if somebody else wants to go try them and say what their opinion is, more power to you, I see we have the better half, Mystic Guns out there, and we have the gun snob out in the crowd. So welcome. Not sure if I missed anybody else.
That makes me wonder with that Sky what kind of QC that shop was doing. Where I worked, we checked every pistol that came in the door to make sure that there weren't any obvious fitment issues. And actually, this is going to piss everybody off, but our most common culprit for having guns with bad fitment were G2Cs from Taurus. We would order them in batches of 100, And usually there was 3 or 4 that wouldn't go into battery right out of the box that we'd have to send back before they ever made it to the showroom floor.
Well, like, so when
That's pretty bad.
like with the Sky, that you could, drop the mag, everything dropped clean. You could, just rack the slide, everything racked clean. It seemed to function just fine. But once you started to shoot it, that's when you had a bunch of damn problems. So I didn't tear it apart to figure out if there's anything, internally. I didn't, or look down the barrel. I didn't pull the barrel to check and see if there was any, scarring or feed ramp issues. So
Yeah, I've never shot one. I mean, I've sold a couple of them, but in my experience, the people who buy those pistols are buying it because of the price tag, not because of what it is. I've tried to talk people out of buying them before and say, "Oh, it's $200. Sign me up." I don't care about anything else.
Yep. So I'm pretty sure that
those guns aren't specifically made for mother-in-laws that you don't care for.
they probably are. Honestly, you're probably like spot on the intention of those pistols.
All the pretty colors and stuff.
Yep. Yeah,
I'm
it is.
surprised there's less.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was reading through the chat, and I'm surprised there was not that many comments about my G2C comments. So you can go ahead.
So it's like G-Webs was saying, he knows some shops that won't carry Tauruses. I know some shops that won't carry CZ, and that's just because that's the owner's preference. He doesn't like them for some reason, and so they won't carry a CZ. Now, if you ask them to order one, they'll order it, but they don't carry it in there,
Our shop is like that with Kimber.
I mean, most shops can only handle 8 or 10 brands. You can't carry 99 brands. It's just too many out there.
Yeah, or even if you carried, say you had every brand out there, there is no way that you would be able to carry every firearm from each brand, without having probably a 4 million square foot building.
We got a gun shop in Atlanta that has. We got a gun shop in Atlanta has, I don't know, 70 or 80 brands, and they do it pretty well. It's about 100 yards of counters, long L shape, and then the military's on the next side.
What were you about to say, Rob?
Oh, sorry. I had got questions here. All right, got distracted offline. I don't recall what I was going to say. Sorry. Getting ordered to juggle vehicles.
So, Shafty, before you take off, you want to tell people about your chat that you're running now?
Yeah, I can do that. Every other Friday, about 9 o'clock, I've just been doing a live chat. Sometimes it's just me. Sometimes I have a guest, just going over whatever I feel like that week. Nothing super high expectations. Anyone's welcome to join. Just if you look on my channel, there's a short, and if you leave a comment on the one regarding it's called low speed, high drag, which is opposite of high speed, low drag, if you get the joke there. If that's something you'd be interested in, just drop a comment on it. Next week, I'm actually going to be talking about cybersecurity and the increase in cyber terrorism. If that's something that interests you, come check it out. If not, just come hang out. You might learn something. I might learn something. And hopefully we can both have a good time. So,
Yeah, I dropped a link for Shafty's channel a little bit ago, so there's one out in the chat for everybody to go check him out.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I got to get going. Mrs. is calling me, so you guys have a good chat. I'll catch the rest of it when I get done with whatever she has for me to do.
Take care, man.
Yep. See ya. Good talking.
Have a good day.
Yep.
Hey, along those lines with cybersecurity, like the pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline, I used to work a lot with online sport books. And back in like 2005, they were all getting these DDoS attacks. So they'd call them up and say, "Hey, it says here on the internet you're one of the largest sport books in the world. We're going to DDoS attack you on this weekend, and you won't be able to take these sport bets unless you pay up $50,000." So they'd pay up $50,000 and they'd get skipped, or they wouldn't pay it and they'd get DDoS attacked, and only about a quarter of their bets would get through. And so they just kept doing it, and they'd find it, and they were like, "You hit me last week," and they're like, "Really? You got different brands?" And they go, "Yeah, this brand, this brand, this brand, this brand, this brand." And they go, "Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't know you were that many brands. I should have charged you more." And so they'll renegotiate, get more money out of a couple extra brands, and then some of them were like, "Oh, I'm just bragging that we're the biggest sport book in the world, and we're not really the biggest," so they wouldn't pay $100,000; they'd only pay $10,000. So those Russians are willing to negotiate pretty good, and if they attack you on one occasion, they don't come back and attack you again. Once you pay the fine, they're kind of done with you. So I'm not saying they're gentlemen. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying they do have some ethics.
What I dislike about the whole pipeline thing is that there's no manual backups, no way to analog how much flow and control it that way. That seems crazy to me.
I don't think the actual pipeline was affected. I think it was all the billing and the tracking in the back office that was hijacked, and so they just shut it off at that point.
But if they can track how much fluid how much gas is going through the pipeline, they should be able to bill it correctly. I mean, that's something simple. You should have a backup regardless.
Well, I mean, they said, I mean, it's here in Atlanta. That head office is in Alpharetta, Atlanta, just north of Atlanta, and they said on day one that they seized control of their back office, and so they shut down the pipeline because they couldn't track anything at that point. All the old stuff, it's all secured by such old software. No Russian hacker knows how to use COBOL or all those old programming languages from the 80s and 70s.
Like Reynolds and Reynolds. Yeah, they need to get Reynolds and Reynolds, and they've been okay.
Yep.
It just proves that Dementia Joe has lost 5 big policy things within the first 5 months of his presidency.
Yep. So we have the men of Tupperware out in the crowd. Welcome. And J. Monty 1738, Ozzy Osbourne. So welcome, guys. So J. Monty says, before High Point, Raven Arms made good ZMAC guns. I think it's spelled ZMAC, ZAMAK, is what he says.
I can kind of agree to that because I got a couple of those Ring of Fire guns, and every one that I've had, I've had a couple 25s, a couple 32s, and they've all ran great.
Yeah, I have no idea. I probably have never seen a ZMAC that I could recall, and I definitely have not shot one or owned one.
I had a little pocket pistol Rayburn in the 80s, and it shot fine. It was a little 25 auto. It shot every time you pulled the trigger. It didn't shoot when it was on safety, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I got one I carry sometimes just for the hell of it.
Okay, so I guess I'm being corrected on the pronunciation. It's ZMAC. So
Yeah, G-Webs is big on the Ring of Fire guns.
So my bad on mispronunciation of the firearm brand.
I didn't know they had names of the model. I thought everything by Rayburn Arms was the same pistol, except different.
Well, it depends on who owned the company at the time, because it was like Ravens, and it was Sundance, and then it was Jennings, and I'm sure gun websites could put out the other 1,500 people that's owned those companies over the years. Like Jimenez is the last one.
So again, I've been High Point. He says is a ZMAC gun, and I've held one. They're super top heavy. They make great hammers. I wouldn't probably try using it as a hammer if you have a round in the chamber. But again, I probably wouldn't try using any firearm as a hammer if you have a round in the chamber. Just my thought. We have 2A Dave out in the crowd, PNW Woods. So welcome everyone. And if G Webs wants to jump on the panel, he can say something. I can shoot him a link and he can join. I have zero problems with having him come on the panel.
Yeah, he's done videos on how they're all linked, the Ring of Fire guns. And it's kind of interesting. You know, people that worked for the different companies moved on, and or family members, and they're all kind of connected.
Yeah, the thing is a lot of the people in the firearm industry, if you're like manufacturing firearms, they tend to seem to bounce from company to company. I guess it's kind of the same in a lot of your manufacturing industry. If you're in food manufacturing, more likely than not, you've been to a couple different food manufacturing companies. probably the same way in auto manufacturing and stuff. So,
Even as an auto mechanic, I bounced back from. I spent most of my time at General Motors, but I did do. I did work for Chrysler and Ford and Acura for a little bit too over the years.
It's the same in telecom. I bounced around from a few telephone companies over the years.
did you work for Ma Bell?
No, just small ones.
Some people may not even know who Ma Bell is.
That
What
a
do they
rapper?
No, they were one of the major phone companies back in the day.
Yeah, the government
What
broke
was-
them up because they were too big.
About
Yeah.
I think it was '82. They used to be. They became the Baby Bell. So Verizon, AT&T, Southwest Bell, all of them. I think there were 8 of them, and they all separated. UUNet got all the internet. They all kind of separated at that point, and then they started buying and merging with each other, and becoming bigger and bigger. So Verizon changed its name. It used to be the East Bell up there. Singular, was the one that's now AT&T, and it merged with a bunch of others to become as big as it is. And then Sprint and MCI, and MCI bought Verizon and all that stuff with Bernie Evers. So there was a lot of incestual stuff going on.
Yeah. So, I wonder if Lee is going to be looking at that new Taurus when it comes out, because he said earlier that now I have him wanting a new firearm. So that's the only firearm I can think of. Maybe he'd be interested in.
I'm still looking forward to the Taurus G3 Toro.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Taurus. What they launched the G3, G3 C, G3 Toro, and now they're coming out with like the GX4 or G4X or whatever their rumor is.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking what, all in the last 8
2
months?
years. Yeah. They started off
A
with
lot
that.
of damn G's. Dude. That's gotta be annoying.
Well, you got what, Smith and Wesson, who just came out with their Shield Plus. So I'm kind of surprised Rob D hasn't ran out and got himself a new Shield.
Nah. Ones I have work fine, no complaints.
Yeah, but you can get that Shield Plus that has better capacity, and I think they were talking about it has a different trigger.
Yeah, it's got a lot better trigger.
What?
It's so much
One
better.
extra round or something like that.
No,
I don't know. It's not worth it to me.
no.
I'll buy extra bagels.
Is that bagel and cream cheese?
Yep. You need to show
yeah.
that.
What were you saying there?
Nice
That's-
everything bagel. Butter and cream cheese. Little snack before dinner.
You know that's not healthy. Especially when you trigger the smoke detector.
You done work it up.
Toaster convention. I don't know what the hell you call it. Fancy ass toaster oven.
Convection oven?
No, I think that's what they call it. It's a toaster oven.
I know it'll cook stuff too damn quick if you're not careful.
Yeah, they got toaster ovens, they've got convection ovens, and now they come out with those air fryer ovens, which all it looks like is a glorified friggin' convection oven. You know, you're going to call it an air frying oven and charge a couple dollars, a few dollars more, when all it is just a friggin' convection oven. I mean, I didn't realize that. I guess I had an air fryer before air fryers were cool.
Back to the Smith & Wesson Plus, it does have a way better trigger, and it's 10 round capacity on the mag. And they sell one 10 round mag and one 13 round mag comes with it. The plus thing is though, if you got an older shield, the slides are interchangeable. All they really did was just increase the grip size to do that 1.5 stack.
So are they going to be sued by Shield as well?
By SIG, I doubt it. But they're 1.5 that goes in. You can look. I did a video on it. It's a 1.5 into a single. So I mean, how SIG not suing Shield Arms? You know what I mean? I think it's hilarious that SIG is suing Springfield, because I hate Springfield anyway because of what they did. So I hope they sue their asses out of business.
So Defense Dad says, those new Taurus guns have already been available in Brazil for a while. They held off U.S. release to help the G3 and the G3C launches go well. So
That would make sense.
the Taurus guy has spoken. And if he wants to have a link, all he has to do is say something. I can definitely have him come on. I wouldn't mind hearing how the training went today.
He's got a little bit of video of it on Instagrams.
Yeah. I have not been on the grams today. And I guess it probably wouldn't be a good time to jump on the grams right now and go looking for it.
Crazy time to take classes to drop 1,000 rounds of ammo.
Who did he go get class through?
I'm not 100% sure who he went and got some training from.
Did he go to Jaeger?
No, that's Budget Guns and Gear. That
I know. He go.
He went. I think he's still someplace there in Nebraska. I'm not sure if he got to go to Mossad or Mossad training, or if
The Warrior Poet was at my local gun store today with barbecue dinner, and one-on-one conversation with him. He paid $50 for the meal and got to shake hands and hang out with him for a couple minutes. But it was my 15-year-old daughter's birthday, so we had a bunch of 15-year-old girls over here. So didn't get to go see him, but would have.
There's two people I use here in Tennessee that I've gone to training with. One's Zerk Ops, and then the other one is Roddy Dodd Training. And they're good, reputable, easy to confirm, their backgrounds and all that. But why? GunWebs brings up a good thing. Why would you pay $50 just to talk to him?
What's going on, G-Webs?
I was just about to go outside and do gardening and stuff. Then I saw you drop.
How's everything going?
You're in the Midland out here. How's it going on that?
So, what's it? The Minute Tupperware says, what's wrong with those grips on the AR? And I'm guessing he's talking about like this one over here that has the grip that goes way back. And that would probably be a New York compliant AR. Or and if he's talking about this other one, it looks like the grip is cut off. That is definitely a New York compliant AR.
Because they have. So does New York also?
Yeah, this one here has to be like that because it's featureless. Now in California, you can have one just like this, but it has to have a shark fin on there. So this one,
that makes it safer, and that's why there's no crime in California.
Right?
A lot of times, the criminal will be like, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to commit a crime with. Oh wait, I can't commit a crime because there's this thing on the back of the grip. So I'm going to not be a criminal."
Exactly.
We had a guy come in to shop today from New York, and he bought an M70 Z-Pap that we just put out, and I didn't even get to do a video on it. He stacked it up, and I told him, I said, well, hide your 30-round magazine and take your pistol grip off before you cross state lines.
Snap! I just realized
What state are you in, Arthur?
I gotta pay. I gotta pay $50 to talk to G23. I didn't realize what I was getting myself into.
Well, you pay 50 pesos. That'd be all right.
Okay, I got that.
It's like a nickel 98, right?
There's pesos everywhere around here. I got pesos.
What state are you in, Arthur?
Tennessee.
So somebody from out of state can buy a firearm, or do they have to send it up
No,
to?
You can buy a long gun out of state. You can't buy a handgun out of state. Well, you can buy a handgun out of state, but you'll have to have your FFL send their FFL to the one you're buying at, so they can send the gun to your FFL so you can pick it up there.
Okay.
But yeah, you can buy a handgun out of state. You just have to send it to your local state if it's legal to have it in there. And you can buy a rifle or shotgun, any long gun, even receivers, because you mark when you go to mark those on the 4470, you mark them as other because you don't know whether they're going to build it as a rifle or a pistol. So you mark it as other, and then they can buy a receiver and take it on an AR, I should say.
So Rob could come on down and buy 10 AR blowers.
Yep. We can even build. We build ARs at the shop too. So if he wants a custom one, we can build a custom one, and then take it back home. But he'll have to comply with New York law. If he gets stopped, if he doesn't get stopped, then it's not a problem. If he gets stopped, then it's all on him.
Yeah, it hit you for a felony too if you violate the New York Safe Act. Yep. Yep. Friend of mine didn't listen. Dumbass. He had a Ruger 1022. This was years ago, and he wanted to put the Archangel kit on it. So I tried to talk him out of it, but he did it anyway. Or got me to do it. It was legal at the time. $100 for this piece of plastic put over a damn thing. And the law ended up changing. I told him, like, dude, you got to pull that off. And he wanted to keep it on. And then I don't know, he got in an argument with a tenant, and then his wife. Something, I don't know what the hell happened. Police showed up. Next thing you know, he's a felon. So all because of that piece of plastic that he paid $100 to put on there. So yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just still a Ruger 1022. So I don't know, and that's legal, but
it looks scary though.
He's an idiot.
I kept telling that guy that too. I said, "Well, go ahead and buy it. I don't care, but you get pulled over for a stop in New York, and they find that 30-round magazine and that AK that's not been New York compliant, dude, they're going to throw you in jail." Okay.
Yeah, 30-round mag's a felony. So it's just that simple. It's crap, but that's how they do it here.
Well, all you have to do is take the grip off. And
is New York one of the places where you can have one that says for law enforcement only? So that means it's from like pre-ban or whatever, and then you can have a 30, or is that Massachusetts or something I'm thinking of? I remember back in the day, like after the ban, all those really expensive, like, during the ban magazines all had to say for law enforcement use, and a couple of people bought them, but then like after the ban, nobody wanted them because they weren't all that impressive, but everybody in the back east was buying them because that proved that they were pre-ban or whatever.
Yeah, we did that in Kentucky. When I lived in Kentucky, we used to do that. Same way I did that. I had to do that with my Beretta and my high-power Browning I had at the time. But it was easy on the Browning magazines. All you had to do was, because all they did was add extra plastic to the follower on it. All you had to do was cut the plastic off. And I was messing with mine one day, and it went from a 10-round all the way up to a 20-round magazine. And then I still got my original Bushmaster I bought in '99 during the ban, and I still got that stupid block and tackle 10-round magazine they put together on it.
So I'm gonna welcome Defense Dad to the show and ask how your training went.
It went pretty good. It's nothing as intense as what like budget's probably going through this weekend, but we're actually really lucky. We've got a place that's called Nebraska Shooters, and it's a small town about 15, 20 miles south of Lincoln, where I live. But it's part of a network of trainers all across Nebraska. But the main one is here, and they get taught a UB. They get a lot of big trainers through there. But Justin, the guy that owns it,
I need a glass. I'm not drinking it all.
He's a real great guy. He does, like, this was kind of like, I guess you would call it a intro to advanced pistol, if you want to call it. So it's for people who haven't been through advanced training, but it's a good trainer before then. And he only charges like $35 for the class, and it was a 4-hour class. We only went through 175 rounds, so he makes it very efficient. But you shoot all sorts of drills, and you learn, as much as you dry fire practice and as much as you shoot at the range, you learn what you don't know and what you're not ready for when the average person doesn't get to. And he makes this available to the public. He also does, like on Friday nights in the summers when he doesn't have a full booking of like concealed carry classes, he does Friday fun shoots to do some of these drills, and it's no charge for people who they register their spots and come out. He just does it to help gain awareness for 2A and also to help grow his shooting school, obviously. But makes it a lot of fun. I learned that I need a lot more training. You get a lot, especially a lot of these new gun owners out there today that again, you do all your dry fire training and drawing from a holster, but it is not the same as he's got the normal drills like we do, clearing malfunctions. If you're under pressure, you're under timer. If you never shot under timer, it's different. And then on top of that, at the very end, once you've gone through most of it, he's got a rig system goes overhead, and you've got two different attackers coming at you, and you have to drop them within about the distance of about 15 yards, or they're on you. And it was a lot of fun, but again, it makes you learn what you don't know.
Sounds pretty damn cool for $35. That'd stayed a hell of a deal from the sounds of it. I think something, anybody should probably look into, because I think people get complacent, or you're good, but it's nice when you have what's the right word? I can't think of it now. It helps when somebody else is looking at you differently. You know what I mean? That doesn't live with you, or this or that, can correct you. You know what I'm saying? Positive criticism. Because none of us are perfect. You know what I mean? We're humans, so we get sloppy, we get complacent, we get lazy. I know, and I find myself sometimes getting to the range and just want to get into it. I start missing right off the jump because I'm all excited about just getting in the shit. I just want to pull the trigger. No, you got to slow down. You got to breathe. You got to think. You know what I mean?
Well,
but sometimes you get over the basics.
With his this morning, like you jump in. Like, first off, I was kind of flustered anyway because I had some fraud on my bank account. I was trying to get cash on the way there today. So then I was late to the class. I showed up trying to get ready and everything, and then you jump right on the firing line, and it's not like boot camp type style, but their instructions are intense. They're right in your face if you're doing something wrong. First drill they had you do was load one in the pipe, drop your mag, shoot it, and then immediately do a pull. And like, it's crazy. You don't think you're anticipating when you do it, but when you have someone in your face and put you under pressure because they're trying to simulate pressure situations. I couldn't believe how much I was anticipating on that second follow-up shot. Because when you go to the range, like I shoot almost weekly still, like not a whole lot, but it's way different just setting it on the bench in front of you and casually loading up, doing your targets, doing a couple double taps, doing some drills, but you're not under pressure. There's nobody there to pressure you. Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. He does them fairly often, and he rotates. Sometimes he'll do shooting from cover, and sometimes he'll do shooting from kneeling, that kind of stuff. We actually ran the FBI qualification today, and I passed it, that was kind of fun too.
That's cool. Man of Tupperware is asking, what kind of course was this? Like, what was it classified as?
Well, so they call it skills and drills, and they rotate it. Like one week they might be doing like shooting from cover and tactical, like running from place to place. They did what's called carnival drill. So there's multiple parts on the target with numbers assigned to it, and you shoot the number like 1 and then 2 in order, but you shoot the amount of shots and you have 8 seconds to do it, but you also have to do you had 15 seconds to do it, but you have to do 2 mag changes in that time. You're only allowed 21 rounds, and if you don't get them all in place, you fail the drill. So he just takes all these kind of nice drills and mixes them up, so if you keep coming back to class, it's not the same drill every day.
It's $35 no matter what they're teaching that day.
For that particular class, yes. And you supply your own ammo.
Okay.
And
that's freaking
too,
awesome, man. I wish I had something like that near me.
And no place here allows you to draw from a holster.
A couple times a month. Yeah.
He's the only place around here that allows you to draw from a holster, but he's a shooting school, it's not a range.
That's cool. Yeah, it's good to keep yourself pressured, I think, or keep moving and things like that. There's always something new. Yeah, my opinion. And yeah, you stop trying, and that's when you stop getting any better, I guess. So
Yeah, so it's a good idea for people to to look what you have in your area. Something like that might be out there. Like, and I go out there on Friday nights, in the summer times and those skills and those fun shoots. But that's also where the Shriners shooting league shoots. I get to shoot with those guys, and it's just great fun. And a lot of people have stuff around there, and they don't realize it because they don't look. You just go silent, or did I get dropped?
Nope, you're still there.
Okay.
I'm playing musical chairs.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm still on the free version, so I can have 6 people on screen. So I playing musical chairs for everybody. So
Gotcha.
now, is this the first kind of training class that you've taken, or is this
to that level? I've taken some. That's also where I took my concealed carry class, and I've done a lot of the Friday night drills. But it's the first one that you have live targets coming at you, and even though it's on the slow gear, it's fast.
Yeah. So
big difference, huh?
Yeah, and Norton Hood's coming out here sometime this summer too for defensive shotgun. I think I'm going to try to get the time off to take that one.
And how much does that one cost?
He charges a little more. I think that class is like $300 or $350 or something.
That's still not
but
bad.
See, when these big guys come out, it's like when they do the Mag 40 training here, it's $1,000 for that class, but it's a 4-day class. They have an on-site bunkhouse for people who drive farther. Like I would drive home back and forth, but it's a really nice little facility.
Yeah,
they've got their Mag 40 class all filled up already. I'm not in good enough shape to do that class. I wouldn't even entertain it, but it's pretty unique that we have something like that around here that you have an opportunity to do.
Do they do like CQB training around there?
He does some of that. He's got when it's crappy out, he made an indoor range. He made it out of like shipping containers, a bunch of them, and kind of soundproof it. He's got, you can go out there, like it's not open to the public. It's not just a daily, you have to register for classes, but he's got it so you can go out there and do like, on like a Mantis X type. It's the laser system. You can do training out there. They pretty much have classes going every day, and they have multiple instructors. So if anybody's in Nebraska, I'd look it up. It's called Nebraska Shooter.
Or you could go 28 weekends for $1,000.
And he's having me help him try to do a little bit better advertising your videos, just so he can get because he still works a full-time job and his wife's a nurse, and they both instruct, so they teach it after work or on the weekends, and he'd eventually like to make it his full-time job. So we're just trying to help him do his advertising too.
So did you take some video of the class that you were in, and are you going to do kind of like
I didn't do the whole class just because it would have been intrusive to the class, but at the end, after everybody's done, we set up for the moving targets, and I set up my 360 target in the middle as they're coming past, and I'm going to do a video about it and put it up. I did a quick edited teaser and threw it up on Instagram tonight after the class.
Oh, I forgot that you got 6 people in here. Was I hogging the spot? I was outside.
So did you find yourself getting any improvement?
Yeah. Because I like a lot of people, like I used to, 2 summers ago, I was shooting, anywhere between 100 and 300 rounds a night every Friday. It's pretty good, but like now, I go out and shoot a little bit for my video and I test a gun or something, but I feel guilty shooting 50 rounds. So like even through the course, it started from 8:30. It was from 8:30 till noon today, and as I went along, like my accuracy started getting better, like kind of back where it used to be because I was out of practice. It just was because you can't afford to shoot like you used to anymore.
Yeah, it's well worth $35.
Yeah, I mean that for a 3.5 hour course, like that's really affordable.
Yeah, there's any course like that, any 3 hour, 4 hour course is $150 here minimum.
Yeah. Well, and
Pretty
he
much the same.
does this class to get people really interested. Hopefully, they'll take the more advanced classes too.
All right, so when you were talking about it before, Zamek is a type of metal, dude. So it's the same thing they make Matchbox cars out of, and it's just the name. It's like, what do you call it when it's the letters, right? It's the letters that make up the metals in it: zinc, aluminum, and copper. It's just, you know, the scientific letters for that is they came up with Zamek. That's what they call that, and it's just a metal that's I guess it's stronger than aluminum. I don't know. It's somewhere between aluminum and regular steel, I guess, but it's way easier to machine. So that's why they make stuff out of it, because I think you can mold it and you can machine it, and it doesn't destroy your tools like regular steel would. And if you put enough of it there, you can make a gun out of it as long as it's not too big of a gun. So that's what high points are, and that's what all those Ring of Fire guns, like they were saying. So anyway, that's the quick history of Zamek. It's just some metal that I think it was invented in Germany like a long time ago, but it's what Matchbox cars are and a whole bunch of other shit like that.
Cap guns are made out of that too.
What are? What do you say?
Cap guns, you know, the cowboy guns when we were kids.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, at least back in the day. I don't know what they're probably made out of plastic now, right? But back in the day, exactly like the Long Ranger gun was made out of Zamek.
Right. Yeah, I just got some Spanish-made cap guns, and they're made out of pot metal. The plastic ones, if you shoot them one time without a cap in, you know, the plastic ring caps, it'll break off the part that goes under the cap.
That's the problem, is it's not really strong metal. You've seen it, you know, it breaks real easy. It's like cast metal. And then it has a low melting point, and that's where everything in the 1968 importation bans is all about the metal Zamek, basically, because that's what they used to make guns out of cheap.
So is that what they used to kind of nickname pot metal, or is that something different?
You know, I think pot metal is different. Pot metal has some, because it's basically the same characteristic. It's really grainy, like shitty. It's like the particle board of metal, right? But pot metal is something like, and I just remember looking this up one time online because I was curious too. And it's like, I forget, it's something about the processing of steel. Like pot metal is somewhere between cast iron and steel, but it's still steel. It's not, this is a blend. Zamek is a blend of aluminum and whatever, something in copper.
Yeah, it was Jason Stewart that said it was zinc, alloy, and metallic.
Yeah, there you go.
So I see we're joined out in the crowd by M. Gabriel. So welcome, everyone. Anyone else
So
have
metallic
questions?
is a type of metal?
Yeah, it's just it's like saying cast iron or steel, stainless steel. It's just a type of a metal.
Yeah, but I think metallic just means any type of, I mean, aluminum, gold, silver, everything's metallic, right?
Oh, I thought you said Zamek. Yeah, metallic is a characteristic of a thing,
right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying is metallic. That's what I was thinking. I just didn't know if that actually classified as its own metal category or what, you know.
I thought you were talking a different name for copper. There's all kinds of old names for copper, and I thought that's what I thought they were referring to. Because you'll see like copper called Kierbrick. I don't know how to say those old names.
But the Rayburn Arms, were all those different companies, Jennings, were they all in the same city, or did they actually move the machinery from place to place as well?
All right, I'm rusty, and it only takes a half an hour if I get way into it. But basically, in a nutshell, 1968 racists, right, are like, you know what? There's too many of them folks coming from overseas, and at the same time, Ruger, Remington, Mossberg, all the assholes are like, I'm allowed to swear in here, right? Or two Mausers and everything else was over there, right? In Europe and wherever, everywhere really, right? Because the war happened everywhere. So all these places had stockpiles of guns. We would just leave them. So we were having, everybody was like, well, I'm going to go hunting. I could either pay for a Remington or I could pay $1 or like $2 for an Enfield and, you know, do whatever I want to it. And now it's a hunting gun, right? And just rechamber it. They were doing all kinds of stuff like that back in the day. So that was Kurt and all the manufacturers. So that was one angle. And then you get all the racists who are like, we don't like them people having handguns. And the them people is just fill in the blank, whatever racist it was. You know, in this part of the country, it's against this. In that part of the country, it's against that. But basically, all racists didn't like poor people basically having handguns. So those handguns were coming from Italy. And they were either ripoffs of revolvers, which are pretty much, I don't know where Rome comes from. Somebody would have to tell me because I can't tell what that revolver is a ripoff of. But all the pistols, the semi-autos, all the Saturday Night Specials are rip-off of Browning's pocket Browning, right? The 25 ACP gun. Like Browning one time in 1905 or something was like, you know what the world needs? The 25 ACP, and then I'm going to wrap the baby Browning around it. So he invents that gun in like 2005, and America's like, that's too awesome of a gun. So stupid FN Herschel starts to make it, and then eventually Colt makes it. Millions of those guns get sold, and like Spanish and Italian companies start just whipping them out in real metal, like not in Zamek or nothing, just like little rip-offs of them in metal. And every housewife everywhere, every dude coming home with cash, right, is now safe because everybody's got a little pistol in their pocket thanks to Browning and a million gun manufacturers. All the fascist lawmakers in the United States were like, you know what, that's a bad deal. So let's make it where small guns, small calibers, anything you can fit in your pocket, anything made out of a metal that has a low melting point, anything that doesn't have target sights on it, and any rifle that doesn't meet these characteristics, right? All the import ban garbage. Let's make the 1968 Gun Control Act. And then also let's do a whole bunch of other heinous stuff like the 4473 and all that. So that's where it all comes from. And I have to state all that because the first point is that Browning invented the 25 ACP, that caliber, right? This tiniest little center fire ever. Why? Because 22 blows because of the rim fire. And 25 ACP is awesome because back in the day, everybody was little. So 25 ACP was adequate, and a center fire ACP in your pocket was perfect for like your grandma or somebody coming home from work or whatever. It's a perfect little gun for everybody. So he invents it, and then the world's happy and peaceful, right? And then 1968, let's ban all that stuff. So then the dude in California, this is where the answer to your question comes from. The guy in California who was making airplane parts goes to his friend who has a gun shop, and he's like, dang it, they stopped the importation of these little 25 ACP guns that I was selling. I forget what the number was, something like 60 a week or some number that was, you know, normal number. And, or maybe it was a couple of hundred a week. I forget. Cause this was 1968. There was all the panic about assassinations and the media hype, right? About we're all hate each other and violence or whatever. So just like now, right? This is not the first time we've had a media induced panic. It started a long, long time ago. And in 1968, we were in one of those. So all these people wanted the same gun that everyone they've known since 1905 had, the same gun that 3 generations have had, a little 25 ACP in their pocket. The 1968 Gun Control Act stops all the Italian guns, the Spanish guns. I don't know if anybody else is making cheap ones, but you know, all those little guns that are just literally rip-offs of Browning, right? Literally rip-offs of that little Colt. Just sometimes they would fiddle with it a little bit if they felt like it, but for the most part, just blatant rip-offs of it. And they weren't great, but they were like fire extinguishers. People had them in their pocket. They felt okay if they needed them. They probably worked. And then most of the time it's brandishing. Most of the time it's the knowledge that you got a little pistol in your pocket, and that bad guy knows that you got a pistol in your pocket and he walks away. Set it on the table and they walk away, right? So it's all that kind of stuff that these 25 ACPs are accomplishing. Nobody pays attention to that. They don't like poor people having guns, so they ban them. So it goes back to airplane guy named, what's his name? The Raven guy. He goes into his friend and says, oh, dang, they were selling all these guns. well, I'm making airplane parts. I could easily make little tiny guns. Let me see one of those. So he takes a baby Browning, the 25 ACP right from Colt, right? And he takes that over into his shop and he makes it out of Zamek. And then he makes a 25 ACP Raven. So Raven is the first one. And there was only 2 Raven models ever. He made the first model and then he made another model after a while. And there's technically 4 of them because in the process, he also changed the stippling, let's say, the grooves on the slide changed. Nobody except me and like 5 other people know that. So there's basically 2 models of Ravens, and the entire time there's the whole 25 ACPs all come from Raven, at least that family, and they're from like, I forget what this is, 1968, let's say 1970, something like that, because it takes him a minute to start the factory. And he starts the factory in his aircraft parts factory in California, in LA, and he runs that factory until it burns down, I forget, in like 1999 or something. And he's the grandfather. Let's call him the grandfather, right? What's his name? Jennings, George Jennings. So his name is George Jennings, and his gun is the Raven, okay? That's what starts it. Now, he has a son and a daughter, and they both work for him. And his son starts making a 22 version of his gun. So his dad makes the 25, his son makes the 22, and that's Jennings, and that is George Jennings. And wait, is that right? George Jennings? Anyway, which Jennings, and he's the worst of the all. He's the second, he's maybe the worst human being of all of them, but he's definitely a bad human being. But he makes just a 22 version of his dad's gun, almost exactly the same gun, just a 22 version. We all know what that means. There's a 25 is the ACP is the first one. 22 is the next, is the son's version. That's Jennings. And then that's going to be a whole nother story in a second. The daughter makes Davis. She marries the factory's general manager named Davis, and they make Davis arms. They take the dad's 25 ACP and all they do is make it into 380 or 32 first and then 380. So they make the gun bigger, and that's a Davis. So all the Davises are 380 and 32. All the Ravens are 25 and all the Jennings are 22, at least back in the beginning. So everybody's happy. They're selling a lot of guns. They each have their own manufacturing based off of the dads. Everybody's happy because they're not competing with each other, and they're decent guns. I mean, people complain about them, but they're like fire extinguishers. You know, they're made out of Zamek, but they're just clones of the Browning design. So they're blowback and they work fine as long as you don't expect them to be little Berettas or something. So they're all happy. Now, the son is an asshole. Like I said, he's literally one of the worst human beings that is in the gun industry for lots of reasons. First thing he does is get in a fight with his wife or beat his wife or does something horrible to his wife, gets domestic abuse charges on him. So he has to cancel his FFL. You can't have an FFL with charges against you. So he closes down Jennings, turns Jennings into something like a distributorship instead of a gun FFL. And his wife takes over the company, and it's called Brico, I think is how it goes. So then you got Brico for a little while. There's actually a company in between there, but you don't want everything. So the wife takes over, and then Brico happens, and then they start eventually to make other calibers besides the 22. On the daughter's side, the husband is ingenious, so he makes a couple of other types of guns. He makes one of the first polymer guns in the country, and he makes the Davis Derringers. So the Remington-style Derringers that Cobra makes today are the Davis designs. So he's over there being innovative and elaborate, evolving his company to do more than just the original guns. And he keeps creating new companies to make plastic guns, but they're all failures because the plastic wasn't good enough back in the day, and it all break. And I have all those names, but I don't remember off the top of my head. His brother starts Sedco, another company in the Ring of Fire, and that's basically a ripoff of the Sun, the 22. So everybody sues him, including his brother. So that company lasts for months, and it only exists in the archives. Then the granddad's nephew, I don't know where he comes from, but some nephew decides, I'm going to start guns. So he makes a 25 ACP like his grandpa or like his uncle or whatever he is, and he adds a grip safety to it, and that's called a Sundance. So that's another company in the Ring of Fire. Now, physically, all these companies are like, me and Smeggy drove to all of them in one day. So they're all around the ring of, was it LA? So except for traffic, it's pretty easy to just drive to all of them. They're just little business centers all around LA. And that's pretty much the sum of it. So there's the grandpa. He has a son who makes 22s. He has a daughter who makes the bigger guns, the 32s and the 380s. and then his nephew or something makes the Sundance. So that's pretty much the Ring of Fire. There's another company called AMT who has nothing to do with anything. They make guns out of stainless steel. They're just minding their business, making decent guns, and a bunch of idiot anti-gunners lump them in together. So somehow AMT is in the Ring of Fire only because of proximity, only because they're in San Francisco, and an idiot who's an anti-gunner thinks their guns look the same. But it's like a brilliant, nice-looking stainless steel gun next to a Zamek gun. It's like, you know, garbage next to the thing that the garbage is supposed to look like. So it's ridiculous that AMT is in there. And then the only other one that matters is one called Lorson, which everybody hates. Lorson is a friend of the Sun. So he's watching this whole thing happen. He knew the Sun in high school. And I said that the Sun is one of the worst human beings. Lorson is the second worst. His son, the Sun, the guy who runs Jennings, he's the worst human. Like nobody, he's an ass. Like he's worse than he's a bad human being for reasons. The friend of his who's Lorson is just an a-hole anti-gunner really, because he creates a company based off of watching his friend and his family make all these guns and everybody's happy. He's like, well, I can do that and I'll just make all the calibers and I'll just make them physically look a little bit different, but basically they're ripoffs. And what are they going to do if they can't sue me? So that guy starts making Lorsons, and he actually has about 4 different companies because he starts ripping off the plastic guns also. So the Lorsons are just junk. They're not good. They were never well made. He was never a machinist. He was just emulating people. But worse is he was never around. He's one of these guys who's like, oh, I'm going to build cars and I'm going to make guns and I'm going to sell ties. You know, he's like constantly doing stuff. So he was never at his gun company from what I understand. And if you listen to the ATF or the FBI or whoever, something like thousands of guns left his factory with no serial numbers. So imagine a garbage Zamek gun being made by gangbangers and crates of them are just leaving the factory before they ever even go to the serial number place. And that kind of stuff is happening. And all they really have is like anti-gunners complaining about it. And like, I tried looking this stuff all up years ago. There wasn't a lot of actual facts other than like a lot of speculation, and everybody agrees that this guy was an a-hole. So that's where the Ring of Fire gets a lot of its bad rap, is from Larson and the Sun. And the rest of them were basically just trying to fill demand, like trying to create guns that people wanted. And they literally made millions of guns. Like it was amazing. They would make guns for, man, I can't remember the numbers. It was, let's just say $30. It might have been as low as $20 to make the gun. And then they gave them to distributors for 60 or something. And then gun shops got them for, I forget, talked to gun shop owners, like $70 or something. So everybody was making money and the gun shops got them for $70 and everybody was getting rich. So you could buy them for less than 100 and everybody was still getting rich. Like it was really, really neat capitalism there. And there, I mean, never were they involved in crime. Other like Smith & Wesson Model 10s have always been more in crime than them. 1911s have always been in more crime than them. Glocks always been in more crimes than them. So all the fake stuff about them is all untrue. Now them being cheap, you know, they're inexpensively made fire extinguishers. So anybody that takes them to the range and thinks they're going to run like a 1911, that's all another story. Anyway, so that's the, I don't know how long that took me, but that's most of the big strokes, I think.
Well,
That's
for
pretty
that
interesting.
history lesson, I think he owes you $50.
Remember, I sat down one Thursday. I was doing a video of the Raven. So I forgot to talk about the Raven. So the Jennings, the granddad, his factory burns down. And I think it really burned down. I don't think it was like an insurance scam. I think there's speculation that it was an insurance scam. But I think it was like 1999, it burns down. And then the new factory gets built by his grandchildren, and they call that one Phoenix. So Raven burns down and they rebuild it, and it's called Phoenix. And it's the grandkids create a company. The grandfather says, you can have my patents, basically. I think that's how it went down. And because they don't really talk about it, this is all from like looking at it from afar, and people that are fans trying to figure it out. And then people from the factories would come into our forums and tell us secrets and info sometimes, not secrets, but tell us what the real deal was sometimes. And I think that's how it went down. The grandkids were like, hey, Grandpa, let us keep making that gun. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And then they called it Phoenix. So the original Phoenix is just a 25 ACP Raven model, right? So that's why there's a Raven model Phoenix. But then I think for all kinds of reasons. All during this time, California is trying to get rid of guns, period, and through inexpensive Ring of Fire guns, the Zamek made cheap guns. So this family, at some point, probably when Brico got sued out of business and Brico turns into Jimenez. So Jimenez was the factory manager. Brico, remember, was being run by the wife. The son was really running it, but he's a horrible person and he couldn't have an FFL. So he beats his wife is the first thing he does. And that just isn't a kid. That's how he starts. That's his appetizer. He's a horrible person. I don't go around saying that about too many people. This dude's a horrible person. Wish he wasn't in the industry. Wish he wasn't in this story, but he is. So he was there. But remember, his wife is running Brico. That's a whole nother story. There's a kid in California who's being babysit by another kid. The babysitter takes a gun out and there's an accident, and the family of the child that's hurt in that situation sues the company who made the gun. So this company is Brico. They get sued for way more, like multitudes more than any insurance any gun company has ever had. Remember the whole PLA thing, the gun company manufacturer thing, or gun company liability thing? This is what caused that law to happen. So this guy in California the guy who went after handguns in California and started the Gun Owners of America, right? The guy who started handgun bans in California and started Handguns of California, or Gun Owners of California, which then became Gun Owners of America in 1975. That asshole doctor named Dr. Winnemute, that guy is the guy who calls them Ring of Fire. That guy was unsuccessful with his 1970s attacks on handguns. So later he goes after the manufacturers of handguns. Now he goes after liability. So he can't go after safety. He can't go after other things. Now in the, whatever it was, the 90s or something, forget the year now, he goes after that situation where the kid shoots another kid accidentally. The manufacturer is at fault. They sue and win, right? They win. I think it was $8 million against the manufacturer because the manufacturer is at fault for that situation. And basically, they go out of business. So they go out of business and do bankruptcy or whatever. The kid who got hurt, the victim, the innocent victim, this poor little kid who got hurt and he's paralyzed, raises a bunch of money online and raises like, I forget how much, $5 million to try to buy the factory equipment from Brico. And he was going to destroy it. He was going to buy the equipment and then destroy it. So he did a crowdfunding effort and raised a bunch of money. But the people who owned Brico got like $5 more or something, like $500 more or something. So they won the equipment. That was the guy who, and then they gave it to Jimenez. So John Jimenez or Bob Jimenez, whatever his name is the guy that was the factory manager for Brico. So that's why you get this, like the grandfather and then the son and then the daughter and the son-in-law, right? And then you get the nephew over there. And then you get the son who's an a-hole. So now his wife has a company. And then the wife, and they get sued, and now the factory manager runs the company, and that's Jimenez, and that's what's today, right? Jimenez still. So that's where people hear about the craziness, and they assume that it's these people like cockroaches that can't be crushed. But if you look at it from their angle, they're very private about it, and their one son, the guy who runs Jennings, is a horrible human being. So everybody has to acknowledge that guy's a horrible human being, and that's a horrible, cancerous part of this story. But if you look at it from the family's point of view, it's a dad and his son, who's a horrible human being, and then the daughter, the other son-in-law, and then the nephew, and then this other guy who the horrible human being's friend from high school. Those two are assholes, and they're horrible. But, the rest of them are not. They're just regular people making stuff. When you look at it from their angle, the state of California is going after them for the materials that their guns made out of, the caliber that their guns made out of, the size of their guns. So the California, they go after all these different things, like I was saying, in 1970s, and create the Gun Owners of California and the Gun Owners of America. They go after the Ring of Fire guns and sue them out of business successfully. They're still not done. California then says, we've got blood in the water. We're going to go after features. So now you can't have safeties. You have too many things, or, you don't have enough loaded chamber indicators. You don't have enough magazine safeties. So that's where we get back to the Phoenix. Phoenix exists after Raven burns down and builds the Raven model Phoenix, which is basically just the same gun but because it's made however many years later, they have to comply with all these California laws. And if you look at a Phoenix model Raven, which I don't have, it's one of the only guns I don't have in the whole collection because there's so few of them. They tried to comply with the law, or they did comply with the law, and it made a horrible little goofy gun with like a magazine safety and a chamber indicators all over. There's a safety on the slide. I don't really have one, so I don't remember all the things that they did to it. But basically, it was just, I don't want to say inoperable, but they quit carrying it. And then they went to that 22 model Phoenix, right? The weird looking one with the rib barrel and with the two different kinds of barrels now with the removable barrel. And then they make a 25 version of that. So that's what Phoenix makes now. And the reason they even made that gun, it's basically a hybrid of the Jennings version of the 22 from back in the day. It's just that they took a Jennings from back in the day and applied all the California infringements, it literally has a safety on the slide. It has a safety on the receiver. It has a magazine disconnect. It has a loaded chamber indicator in a blowback 22 ACP, 22 LR, right? So the smallest gun on the planet with the most simple operation has 5 freaking safeties. And that's where this whole story starts. Is one Thursday, I sat down to do a review of that gun. And I'm like, this is the stupidest gun in the world. Like, who would have even made this gun? Why did they make this gun, right? And I was ragging on it. And I'm sitting there in like whatever year that was, 2014 or something. And I'm making a bad review about a gun. And I'm like, there's something wrong with this because that's not what I'm trying to do, right? Like I don't have any reason to make a bad review about a gun. So I started to look into it. And the reason that the Phoenix exists is basically a thumb in the nose to California. And California, remember, this whole time since 1968 has been trying to put these companies out of business, this family out of business for building guns, right? They're not doing anything. They're not selling them to criminals. They're just building guns that supply and demand. And California's been trying to put them out of business by imposing infringements on what these stupid like requirements, like you have to put a grip safety, all these things I explained. So the Phoenix is just them saying, you know what, we're going to keep doing it. We made enough money back in the day that we can keep making this gun and you can't push us out. Because another part of the story I didn't talk about is all the other companies left and went to New Mexico or wherever, Utah, right? They left to go to states where they didn't have to apply all these stupid safeties that California makes them put on. I believe, they won't say this, but I believe Phoenix is just there literally as a Second Amendment FU to California. We're going to keep making this gun that you hate, and we're going to keep making it, and we're going to keep complying, and we're going to keep making it. And even if nobody ever buys it, we're going to keep making it. And we're going to keep making it in California. They've never actually said that, but like I said, I pay attention to what they're doing, and I did some research, and I seriously think they're not making any money on that gun. I think that gun exists to say FU to California. Another reason I think that is because I think more than one person in that family, remember how this family is all from the grandfather, more than one person in that family is a pro-gun attorney, and they stayed in California to fight gun laws. So the California gun laws persecuting that family has turned that family into like, the equivalent of a rancher that's like, you ain't making me leave my land, even though they're not really making any money on those guns. I might be adding a lot of drama to it that doesn't exist, but that's how I see it. Like that gun is sort of the rock in the water that isn't dissolving. No matter what they stick on it or make them do, they're going to keep putting the Nerf bars around it or keep putting the big spray paint on it, but they're going to keep making their gun there until they go bankrupt or something. Although I think they made a lot of money.
G-Web, what about the little Derringer that shot the 410 and 45?
You're talking about the really simple ones, the black ones? Yeah. That's a company in Tennessee, I think, or in Montana. It's moved.
No, this is the 90s. It was chrome looking,
If it's the Cobra one, that's the son, the son-in-law. So the main guy is Jennings. It was George Jennings is the main guy. Now that I'm getting it back, Bruce Jennings is the horrible human being. George Jennings is the grandpa that had the conversation in 1968 about there's still a demand for these little guns, and I'll turn my airplane parts factory into it. His factory manager is Davis, married his daughter, and they became Davis Arms. And that company, Davis, that guy was a gun dude. He ran a gun factory, right, and married the gun maker's daughter and started making guns, right? And then he made a Remington style Derringer, and I think that's one you're talking about, the Cobra Derringer. Well, the Davis Derringers and now the Cobra Derringers. So when Davis went out of business, I think they got sued out of business also because of that California situation. When they went out of business, Davis bought them and moved to Nevada. And I've been to Davis, but they won't let you in. basically the same as all the others, just a little storefront. You wouldn't know. It just says like 23 on the door. It doesn't say anything about what they do inside. So you have to like know where they are and look at them to find them. But they're like I say, almost all of those, all the companies except Phoenix left California. So what I did is I did that. I did that review. I went home and started doing research. And back in the olden days, I was doing YouTube for a living. So I literally was like, I'm doing my reviews, like what Clover or somebody would do. Like, I'm just doing my reviews and then I go home and edit them, right? I was living that kind of life. And I'm like, I'm not going to do a bad review of this gun without doing more insight. Why are there 3 safeties on this gun? This is dumb. And the problem is that, you flip, when you have 3 safeties, it's possible. It's like having 3 light switches. Like there's just no way to get that down. There's always going to be one of them in the wrong way. So it's just the dumbest thing ever. It was like actually unsafe, right? And I didn't want to say that in a video because I don't think that was their intent. And then when I went to find out their intent, I found that their intent is to comply with California law. And California law is that, what's the word? Like uninsightful or stupid or whatever the way to say it, like that dumb that they require so many things that it takes the manual of arms, the manipulation of the gun from the like way beyond the norm to past the extreme into the unsafe, into the like ridiculously unsafe. Like you shouldn't have to worry about if your magazine is in, if you're trying to check your chamber, like you can't check the chamber on that gun because if the magazine's empty, the slide won't lock back or something. I don't even remember the horrible manual, but it's completely specific to that gun. Anyway, so once I started to look into it, I figured out why, and I could just kind of explain it. It's because they're just complying to say, F you, California. You keep telling us what to do, and we're going to keep making that gun until it turns into a Rubik's Cube, and then you can explain to the world why this gun is a Rubik's Cube, which, sort of I figured out real quick. Started to go backwards, and what I found out is there was a girl back in, I don't know, like the 70s or 80s or something, who went to that area of California and met all these people who I was just explaining about, literally talked to most of them back in the day. And then she did like an NPR style report on it. And I think it was, I've read it and it's fair for somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, who did a little bit of research and then tried to do a fair, report on it. It was fair. And it was, a situation where she went there thinking that it was just a bunch of criminals dishing out guns to other criminals, right? So she was learning stuff and then trying to be fair. So anyway, that was the only real legitimate work that was ever done. Then there was a PBS thing that almost completely cited her work. And then there was this Dr. Winnemute that did a thing, like published a doctor book or whatever it's called. And his thing basically copied all of her work also. So basically 2 other people read her thing and then did their own projects citing her works and just quoted her stuff. And literally everything else since has been citing those 3 things. So everything that's cited is one lady's work who kind of didn't even know what she was doing and just did a decent job, luckily. But anyway, that part bothered the heck out of me. And then when I started to do more research about that Phoenix Arms, all I found was gun people hating it. And then I'm like, this is horrible. Why are gun people hating this gun? And it's just because they don't know why it exists and why they're insisting on making this dumb gun, right? And if they knew, they probably wouldn't, certainly wouldn't make a review like, this is the worst gun because it's not a Glock. Like, come on, guy, like it has nothing to do with it. That's like going up to a parade and saying it's not efficient traffic. It's like it's apples and oranges. So I just started figuring out that most of the people who were complaining about these little guns were feeding the fuel, because basically we've had a whole bunch of negative press in different waves. Sometimes they don't like sniper guns, sometimes they don't like AR-15s. Well, sometimes they don't like cheap guns, and sometimes they don't like guns with low caliber. So these little guns, oftentimes are being persecuted on. And when they do that, when the news persecutes them, and this is all before the internet, I'm doing this research years ago. So everything I was researching was basically magazine articles and things that were citing things before the internet. All of this stuff would cite gun owners who were complaining about these guns. And that's when I started saying, hey, you know what? We can be smarter than this. Like, we can be aware of this. So that's when I decided to, that weekend, I basically I didn't leave. I just spent the weekend. Instead of doing a review of that gun, I did a review of the situation, and that turned into like a half an hour PowerPoint, basically, because that's all I could do at the time. But basically it was to try to get people to realize that, there's a lot more to this stuff, and it's not only fun and interesting, it's super interesting history, But yeah, there's some like cool Second Amendment elements to it and some like interesting machinery parts to it. So I don't know, Ruger's a neat history, but once you get dig into his history, he hates 10 round, or he hated everything over a 10-round magazine, even petitioned the government, right? So anyway, I'm rambling now, but that was an interesting story. I just sort of found it and then couldn't get enough of it. And I guess thanks for the opportunity to go through and try to remember it all. It's been years since I thought about all that stuff.
Well, thank you for the history of all that. And like Artax says, now I want one. I tend to, I definitely may go looking for like a 25 ACP.
So what I did is I was like, what can I get? Because I wanted to collect them too. And I knew I already had like 5. So as soon as I started thinking about it, I already had like 5 of these guns. So I was looking around and I'm thinking, what can I collect? And I started to do the different PowerPoints and stuff. So I went with the 22s on the Jennings side. And that ended up being, I went with all the 22s eventually. And I forget, it all fits into one Pelican box. So you could do about 8 different ways of collecting though. And here's the trick. Buy them broken, unless you really want working ones. You're going to pay more for them, but you can buy them broken for, I've paid $8. I've gotten them for free. So when a gun's broke and it's not a gun that's worth fixing, it's not that hard to get it in trade or something. So you can definitely start a collection of those kind of guns, and they're super fun. The other thing is, if you keep an eye on gun shows, what they'll do is when they do get like confiscated or crime guns or something like that, where nobody wants them anymore and they have to destroy them, if they give them to the right gun shop, they're going to destroy the frame, but keep like all the magazine and springs and everything. So I've bought almost complete guns where they just break the frame. So it's not a gun anymore, but technically I guess it's not a gun. So I've got that where I can just kind of put it back together and it looks like the original gun, where it's missing a few parts inside, but it's kind of like a parts kit. You still got most of it to look like the gun. So it's like collecting the cheapest guns, literally. So yeah, highly encourage it if you're interested in collecting another thing and potentially something that can get addicting. And you can't finish the collection. There's too many of them. Be careful. But otherwise, yeah, it's a fun one and very inexpensive.
So we've got SS Pawn, who's joined us, Carolina EDC, and CB. So welcome everyone. And Carolina says, I love the Fanta pineapple soda. Dude, Fanta pineapple soda is delicious. So
Hey, G-Webs, I've got the 22 Magnum double Derringer. It's a pretty fun one to shoot.
Like the up and down Remington style?
Yeah.
So, Defense Dad, do you have more to your story you'd like to throw?
Yeah, I was just telling the guys in the private chat. I forgot there was so one of the guys, because this was open to newer shooters, and there was one dude there that when you're doing the one-shot drill, when you're only allowed to have one round in the gun, you fire it and then do the dry fire afterwards. He got so mad he threw his, after the gun was empty, but he got so mad he threw his brand new PDP with the all of a sudden $300 red dot on it 25 feet into the gravel, and he got ejected from the class. That was
in a class?
That was crazy. Yeah.
It was in a class?
It was in the class I went to today.
I thought you were
Why
talking
did you
like
throw it?
a game or something. I could see somebody in a competition get all mad, but in a class, like, how could you be that stressed in class? Was he missing or something?
I don't know. He just didn't like how he was shot placement. He's my age, but I think he was brand new to stuff, and he just so they ejected him. You don't do that.
Sounds like a big kid.
If he's brand new to the thing, then that's the kind of stuff that gets him learned, right? Like, oh crap, like they aren't farting around like now I had to waste money and I have to come back if I want to ever do this again.
Well, I'm like, I had my PDB with me, but there's no way in hell I'm gonna throw my gun. I mean, I was shooting a different gun, but I'm like, that's just dumb. And I was also gonna say too that I learned, so when you do stuff like this, you also you learn how maybe you think you know your equipment too. But I was using my Safariland holster with the level 1 retention on it. And if you see that, if you go over and watch that, or when I put the video out, I'm going to leave the footage in. You'll see me. You have to do a double hug or double tug on it because during the pressure fire, I failed the first time to release the retention system on it. So it's just the kind of stuff like that you learn. Basically, you just learn what you're not used to doing under pressure. But yeah, that guy who threw the gun, he was right next to me. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
How big a class? How many people?
There was 6 or 7 of us. I forget. And it's an outdoor range, so you're like.
I guess if it was like, if you were to set like 4 people, like a private class, and you all knew each other, and you just brought in a 5th person to teach you, then I guess I could almost understand it, like y'all know each other intimately or something. But that's definitely inappropriate.
Yeah, it was a good mix. There was a couple ladies that were in their probably 60s, and they had just got their concealed carry license, so they wanted to learn some situations. There was a couple of the other guys are actually firearms instructors, but they were just doing it for fun. And then there's kind of me who's kind of in between. I'm not a firearms expert, but I play an idiot on YouTube, so I kind of like to go take classes.
So, SS Pawn has a question out there, and I'm going to run it through the panel. He says, I've bought a couple 32 ACP pistols for my wife. What is your opinion of 32 ACP for self-defense? Rob, you want to kick it off?
I say use what you can handle. Center fire, from my knowledge, the modern guns seem to work well. Not many issues with the magazine. It's like feeding, I guess, was a thing in the past, so I've heard. So, I even honestly feel fine with a 22. I know people debate that, whatever, blah, blah, but my guns and the ammunition I've tend to bought always seems to work well to the point where I trust it. So I'd say, use what you're comfortable with, what you can get by with, and make your shots count. So, but I'm not a 32 expert. So.
G-Webs?
Well, first off, if Browning made it, it has to be perfect. So there's that going for it. But yeah, it's center fire, and it's big enough to do anything it needs to do. So unless it's I was asking them what model or what make or whatever, unless it's like some really goofy one, like a Beretta, yeah, definitely. Because like he's saying, you can handle the Beretta 32. Is that the same size as my little 22? No, it had to be a little bigger than that. But it's not as big as a 9.
He says it's the Sea Camp and Beretta Tomcat.
The Tomcat is the break top barrel, right? Like I had a little 22 short like that, but I think it must have been a smaller frame. Well, 32? Shit, it might have been the same frame, just a bigger barrel and mag. So anyway, that's a great gun. Great gun. It's well made. The breakup barrel means with arthritis or long fingernails or distracted or in panic, you can just flip the little thingy and the lever and your barrel flips up so you can load the first round, just smash it down and you're shooting. I guess I don't know if that one's semi-auto or I mean if it's some double action or single action, but either way you don't have to rack the slide on it. And then the Sea Camp, I don't know, you guys have shot Sea Camps. They're really tiny, so I don't know if you need strong hands for a Sea Camp or not. I don't know if I've shot it. I don't think I've shot a Sea Camp 32, but the Beretta I would think for sure. So I'm a big fan of 32.
Wheeled, what's your opinion?
Well, it's a center fire, so they do fire, 99% better percent. So they are small. Both those are real small guns. I don't know if you have I've never fired either. But and most of defense. I mean, Hemi guns are brandished and never fired a year. A couple 100,000 times a year, from what I hear. 500,000 incidents are stopped a year is kind of the number I hear. And most of those are without a shooting. So I think it's definitely a part of self-defense. All you need is a open black hole pointing at you to realize you're doing something wrong.
Mr. Foss, what do you think with your little mouse gun?
Well, I saw a news story back in the 80s where they're talking about bulletproof vests, and the reporter was wearing a vest and got shot with, it was either a 25 or 32. And of course, it didn't penetrate, but it hit with enough power that it dropped him because it hurt so much. So there is some good power up close in the little mouse guns.
Defense, Dad?
I mean, I can't speak to how it shoots. I never shot one. I just, they're small. They'd be easy to conceal. I'm sure Stan's wife's experience since she's Stan's wife, but I don't think I'd want to put a new shooter in there because that barrel's so short. When you go to put your support hand, it'd be easy to get your finger in front of the barrel, front of the muzzle. I mean, but it looks pretty cool.
G-Web, do you have a follow-up?
Follow-up.
I didn't know if you were gonna chime in on something. So my opinion, you know what? The thing is I'll harass people that I'm friends with about, in caliber shame or whatever. But I guarantee you, at the end of the day, I'm not going to stand down range of any caliber. I'm not going to do it to a 22. I sure the hell ain't going to do 25 or 32. So, carry what is comfortable for you and what you feel like most comfortable with. Because if you're not comfortable, you're probably not going to carry it. So that's my opinion on there. I haven't fired either the Seacamp or the Beretta, so I can't say, which one has more recoil or, are they the same kind of a recoil? I can't chime in on that, but I can definitely tell you I wouldn't stand down range of them.
It looks like a little fun gun. I mean, my personal experience, the smallest gun I've ever shot is my SIG P938. So that thing looks way smaller than my SIG.
Well, from the question, it sounded like she already has the gun in a sense, so she's probably already somewhat familiar with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure she's pretty familiar. So.
Yeah, if that's the case, then it might be good for her. And I always try to tell people, like, try a variety, because in some ways we all like what we like, but other people may like something different. So, the more the merrier you can get your hands on. Whatever, works best and hides well for you.
Yep. So if there's a range by that you can go and rent firearms, I would definitely say rent every single firearm that they have and see if there is a certain caliber you like and a certain firearm that feels better in your hand, because, you might find that a Taurus is the best and for comfort for you. You may find out that, unfortunately, the M&P is the best comfortability for you, or you could like Glock, or you could like SIG, HK. It all depends upon grip angle and do you like grip safeties? Do you not like grip safeties? Do you want an external safety? Do you not want, so that's all factors in, but you still got to find out what can you carry comfortably before you're going to worry about, purchasing, in my opinion.
Yeah, it gets on my nerves when people like gun shame or even caliber shame. When it comes right down to it, if I'm spending 500 plus on a firearm, I'll be damned what someone else thinks about it.
Yeah, most of the time, I'm like, go ahead, Rob.
I'll just say I'd point out I think there's a difference in how a person carries. If she's one of them off-body carry type person, then honestly, I'd probably go with a little larger of a gun, just because the bigger, the less recoil, the easier it is to hit usually. But if it's on body, I can totally understand a female wanting like the smallest, gun that's going to get the job done possible, just for clothing and I guess I don't know. Females have, depending on the style and things like that, basically probably a harder struggle hiding a gun. I would assume. Maybe that's biased to me. I don't know, but it just seems like most females wear fitting clothes. So that's got to make it a lot more difficult to actually hide a gun. So if that is the case, then obviously you want as small but yet functional as you can get. But again, if not, if you're off body, I mean, shit, you can put a tank in a purse. Not literally, but almost a target pistol or whatever, in a sense, if you wanted, you could jump up to. But if that's what you're really, really good with, I'd go with the best you can, because it really it's in the bottom of a bag anyway.
Yeah, I know. There's been a lot more companies that are coming out with concealment garments that are more designed for women. You've got like the concealment bra, belly bands, and stuff like that will help be able to conceal on body.
Those are for women?
Yeah, they got a whole line of stuff like that. I think a lot of women are funny about that stuff, though. Even just down to a bra. Women are very particular on their bras.
Well, dude, that's what there's dozens of companies doing. There's dozens of companies making it, because the same thing is like purses. Like, well, I want a purse for going out, or I want a purse for the weekend, or I want a purse for this or that, and then they want guns in them, and then I want a purse for my red shoes or whatever, right? You go to any gun show, there's going to be individuals, but then every time I watch one of the live casts or something, there's more and more companies sponsoring the big women's events, big ladies events. So yeah, I think they're caught on to that a long time.
Well, and I can't remember what company it is, but I've seen those videos. There's one of this gal that she's sponsored by me, yes, but like it's a video. She walks up and she's saying how you can't tell I'd be wearing anything. She's wearing like a fairly tight shirt and a skimpy mini skirt, and she pulls out at least 2, if not 3 guns and a couple knives, and like demonstrating how much they can actually carry with that clothing that nobody ever knows.
Yeah, like the stretchy pants with the holsters in them. Like they can wear whatever they feel like. These stretchy pants have a bunch of holsters or belly bands, like you're saying. And then, depending on what girls are, different kind of clothes.
Yeah, I think it depends on the clothing style. Definitely, there's some stuff there. Don't get me wrong, but I think with some girls, it's just going to be trickier, I guess, than others.
Oh no, for sure. And then there's some girls are going to be like, no, I just wear that regular holster. I don't need no frilly holster with pink on it or ruffles or nothing. Just give me that one.
Yeah, plus the cost of things, and are you gonna buy 3 or 4 of the same bras, different colors for different outfits, and the belly bands. Like I said, I just think they, on a general clothing scale, deal with a hell of a lot more than we do. I can't speak for everybody, but
Well, dude,
my
we
go-to is a pair of jeans or khakis and a t-shirt, you know?
we wear like pants, and we got like maybe a couple of different kind of pants, and then we wear a shirt, and we have like 3 different kind of shirt maybe, and then a coat, and we have like 2 different kind of coats. They got like a billion of everything, plus like shorts and skirts and everything else and this and that. So I watch a couple of channels, and they're what's crazy is they'll have more holsters than dudes because of that, right? Because they have so many different ways that they carry. But then they'll also decide, just like dudes, like, oh, I don't like this one anymore. So now they don't throw it away necessarily because they know what it can do. They just don't like it. And then they'll buy another one. So I'm watching some of these channels just because it's boring listening to y'all dudes talk about stuff. I've heard dudes talk about holsters, forever. So there's nothing y'all have said to me that I haven't heard before, except for a new brand or something, where listening to the girls talk about it, like, definitely different. And what's crazy, I guess, is that they're concealing full-size guns with optics, like the red dots on them. And because that's the cool thing now. Like, they're just coming into guns as if red dots are a standard thing. And since they're putting a red dot on there, they just go ahead and get full-size guns half the time. Because, some dude told them to get a little gun because you're a girl. And they're like, I'll show you. So it's crazy, like, how well they're concealing real full-size guns.
Yep. Exactly. There's, all different kinds of things out there for all different kinds. But, yeah, I saw that same video, where she walked up, I think, like 6 different guns and a couple knives and a taser.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, and I've got a friend she carries, and she has, women wear the leggings or yoga pants. They've got those with a belly band holster built right into them now.
Yeah.
And God bless.
Well, wouldn't you still see the shape of a gun though, like sticking out?
Yeah, but
they're standing sideways. I mean,
but there's
like
like
a tighter
stuff on the
top
front.
and spandex. You think you'd
Because
notice.
they usually have a top hanging over it, like a shirt hanging over it.
Exactly.
It's
But the things aren't just like a stretchy pocket. They're a stretchy pocket with a protective stuff so that they're not like having to worry about a little baby climbing on them and pulling the trigger guard. So like they're thought out. Like these are chicks that have been carrying for dozens of years and are making clothes, like going to the designers and saying, you already know how to make girl clothes. Now make girl clothes with a pocket here. With
yeah,
this
it's not like they're just throwing it in that back pocket that's for their cell phone that shows the print of it. They yeah, he's right. They got structure built into them, but it's above the waist. So that's where the shirt falls over. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Well, and that's what their videos are all about. Like,
I get it, but that probably fits a certain person in a sense where a lot of girls in yoga pants are wearing a tiny, tight top. So how is that going to cover,
well, just like
anything?
everything
Even if
else,
there is padding, it'll look like they got stomach padding or something. But it'll stand out like elbow pads would nowadays. And the last thing a girl's going to want to do is walk around looking pregnant or a baby bump when she's not. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking at a different places. I just think the dress would be, depending on the person's dress style, could be issues, I guess. Maybe I'm just dwelling on the wrong shit.
Well, that could be
check out a channel called Style Me Tactical, and then check out a channel called Armed and Styled or something like that. Armed Style or something. Two different types. No, that's
Girls
a different
with guns.
two-way. No, I just said the two of them. Dang it! Now I got to try to remember. The one is Style Me Tactical. She's been to 2 or 3 gun rights policy conferences and a couple of AmCons, so she's dedicated 2A, but she's also super into fashion. So her thing is like you can still be girly in fashion, but then she's been doing this for enough years that she's also working with industry. So like I say, I've been around since back in the day where it was like, here, you get your pink item. And then girls got sick of that. And then it was like, here, you got your one purse. Those girls that have been around since that day, like they know what the old off the rack stuff was. Like these girls have now gone to the ladies, I should say, have gone to the manufacturers and started to make their own lines. And they're the 3rd or 4th generation of their own lines, meaning women have taken these things home and given them feedback and they've evolved the stuff. But Armed and or Style Me Tactical is super. It's all about just being fashion or whatever you'd call like different clothes or girls are. They talk about what they look like or whatever. It's like all like that. But then here's how I draw, or here's like, remember girls, like don't forget that if you draw or if you wear in this style, then you got your frilly top on, draw a couple of times. You know, if you're going to wear it over here, draw a couple of times before you go out. Make sure that, you know, that you've experienced what it's like to draw this thing so that you don't have to do it for the first time. They're wearing high heels when they do stuff because they're like aware that they're still going to be carrying when they're doing this stuff. And the other one is Armed and, oh man, I can't remember. Anyway, Style Me Tactical is the easiest one to go find because I can't remember her name. But there's definitely a bunch. If you start to look, just like you said, though, that's why I gave you two. Because it's just like you said, the Armed and or Style Me Tactical, I don't know enough about girls' fashion, what to call her. I would call her like a city girl. Like she looks like somebody from the city to me, where the other one I was going to say is more like a girl from the country. But neither one of those would be like, you know, your other kind of girls. There's a million kind of girls, right? So that's all I'm saying is that you gotta, I agree with you. You're going to find like a channel for the type of girl, and then they're going to have a discussion about their shapes and their styles and their preferences. And then they worry about what gun they got. And then on top of all that, they worry about how they shoot the things. But yeah, like a bunch of girls that wear jeans aren't going to hang out with a bunch of girls that never wear jeans, right?
And think about it this way too. So just like, so coming from this area, like it's easier for like Rob, for you to conceal multiple ways than it is for me, because you're in better shape. And believe it or not, the bigger the guy is, the harder it is to conceal, not print. You take that to a girl, now they have natural curves that create, you know, they have that dent in the small of the back. They have the curves underneath their chest area. Like, and with this on too, it's another. Women are great about accessorizing, and this becomes, even though it's a firearm, it's an accessory. So I mean, it's. I think it's in some ways it's easier for a woman to conceal a gun than it is for a guy, hands down.
In their nature, they always have babies. They're always clutching babies, so it's in their nature.
Back to the beginning of the call when we were talking about Sky and the purple guns and the pink guns and the blue guns. I think that's where they're popular.
Now my question is, G-Webs, have you come across one of the, like a Hood Rat channel showing how
Yes.
they...
Yes. Actually, I found an amazing channel. I didn't want to share with anybody because it's too crazy, but yes, definitely. So what the hell? YouTube is everybody, and everybody has the Second Amendment. So not everybody can deal with it. But like, yes, I've definitely seen a channel where I was like, wait a minute, is this a parody? I'm like, no, this is for real, dude. This is just like poor people that are like not, you know, in the loop or whatever, helping each other out. Yeah, I've definitely seen it. And it was a little cheap gun. And they're like, here, like, put in your pocket kind of thing.
So has anybody else been seeing these newer channels pop up where like everybody's doing like their 2021 gun collection and they're showing everything they own on the internet?
Yes, that's a fad now. I don't know. There's nothing you can do to stop it, but I just don't watch the videos. But yeah.
Like, I just want to tell you, I was like, what are you doing? You're doing a video record of everything you own.
It's because they're new gun owners and they don't know anything about the olden days, so they don't have any apprehension or whatever. Like, what's the word? I don't want to call it paranoia, but I think there's a healthy paranoia is. Like, they don't have that. Right? They don't think there's anything bad with doing it, so they're just doing it. And it's one of those things like Todd, what is it, like the ice bucket challenge? It's like, look what that guy did. I'm going to do it.
I was just watching that. Like with me, even though I review guns, like some of the guns I review on the channel I own, some of them I don't. You know, I don't tell people which ones are mine, which ones are borrowed. I just tell people we have this one to review today, because that's just your anybody who wants to, they can know what you own.
That's a great point. In fact, you should often, when you're doing videos, if you're doing enough show and tell videos, anytime you can get somebody else's gun, do a video of it, because then, yeah, it obfuscates what your collection is, right?
Yeah, I've borrowed lots of guns to do reviews. I mean, I own several of those.
Especially at the range. So if you can, like, you have a couple of 3 of your guns on the table and you borrow somebody's gun to put on top of all your guns and do a review, brilliant. Right? Do a bunch of reviews like that, and then give the gun right back to him. You know, but now it looks like, oh, what the heck? Where did that gun come from? It's with all his other guns, right?
So Ozzy brings out a good point. You've got that guy's wife, Media. She does some pretty good videos, and Gunpowder Beauty. Both of those women have done some good videos out there too.
Interviews from Wanamaker and SHOT Show, etc. Actually, NRA too, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Patriot. No, we just as soon as you left, Rob just started talking about purses, and then we had to talk about.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, Patriot's gone. I can talk about carrying a purse." So
We're like, can we at least talk about guns in the purse?
Did I miss something?
I'm just ragging on Patriot.
Probably.
Got
Are
an
we-
emergency. Earrings
Is this-
down the drain. Now I got to go pull a P-trap.
Maybe Patriots just, because a lot of those gun purses are kind of cool looking if you really look at them when you're on the shelves and everything. Maybe they're just because we don't get to carry them. I don't know. I was with a friend one time in Shields. They had I'm like, man, there's a lot of engineering to put their damn ugly things.
I'm trying to remember. There was a period of time that the man bag was a thing, and
The Merce.
no, well, like the idea of carrying your gun in this little square
Yeah.
thing that it'd be like, oh, well, guys carry purses sometimes anyway, so now you can just carry your gun in there. Like if you're at the gym, I don't know what the excuse was, but I'm trying to remember. I think it was right at the end of the assault weapons ban because I was just kind of getting into this whole thing, and I was like, what? It didn't last very long, of course. I really think sometimes these people that sew nylon, because this was back in the days of nylon, it was before the Kydex was a thing yet. So nylon was sort of the most adaptable. Leather, I guess, was always adaptable. You could always cut something to make it out of leather, but they didn't. But the nylon people, as soon as somebody asked for something, there'd be like a new nylon thing at the next gun show. And I think that's probably where some of that stuff comes from. Like they're sitting there thinking, we've got sewing machines in nylon. We know how to make stuff. So what if we made a little bag that dudes carried around with a gun in it? So it's not like anybody thought it through. They just said, we can do it. Let's see if the market will buy it. And then they put it out there and discovered, yeah, nobody wants this. And then once it exists, every instructor is like, oh, by the way, never buy a product such as, this whole characteristic list.
Yeah, we cover everything, Patriot.
Does it count as quarking if it's not a gun chat? If it's just a meat chat?
yeah,
Guns
I
and
know.
Barbecue on?
Yeah, Guns and Barbecue started like 5:30 Pacific.
You basically slid his
And-
meat right in there.
Yeah, and then
I mean, his meat show. Sorry.
and what's it? Rich White's probably started his wrestling chat.
Oh no, he's not doing a wrestling chat. He's been saying that all night. That because all wrestling is scripted and fake, they're having a fake scripted lunch or dinner. I guess everybody knows what they're going to eat already because it's all scripted.
Ooh, so I'm gonna welcome 223 DMR out there, Andrew Faulkner, and Andrew said he picked him up a SIG 320 X5 Legion today. So
That's
Congrats.
a nice gun. I've got to shoot those. Those are nice.
Nice.
That's one of the few SIGs that I actually really like.
yeah, if
I'd
I
like
could. Oh, go ahead, Wield.
I'd like to build a 320 from just parts. Start with the FCU and the fire and control unit and X5, and then the Icarus lower and a slide and barrel, and I think the mag release is really all the parts you have to find.
You can do that. Sega now offers the FCU. You can buy just the FCU, and then you can buy parts from them if you want, and other brands that they have on their website, or you can go complete, just buy the FCU and go with, like a Wilson Combat or a Polymer 80 or Icarus Precision if you want a metal frame. I know SIG says they're going to be bringing out their aluminum frame. That's going to be a standalone purchase. So you'll be able to do that. You can be able to do all of it if you want. I'm waiting for them to bring back their exchange kits so that you can have the 40 or the 45 before I go doing something like that.
Yeah, I've had a chance to shoot pretty much the entire P320 line, and the only one I like is the X5 Legion. But that's kind of like with Glocks. The only Glocks I like are the full size, like the 17s or the 34, the full size frames, whether they're 9 or whatever. But I don't like the smaller ones, or I don't like the regular P320s for whatever reason, just personal preference. They're good guns, but so you got a nice one.
Have you tried the APX, or not APX? They're AXG or something like that. It's their new all aluminum lower for the 320.
No, I haven't tried that one. It's been because there's fairly often they have the SIG rep come out to some of our ranges here, and so they bring the whole line to shoot. So I should say I've shot all the polymer versions of it, and I just for whatever reason, maybe it's the higher bore axis or whatever. There's just other guns I like better. But just like Glocks, I don't like smaller Glocks if they're in a stock configuration, because for whatever reason I always get really bad trigger slap on like the 26 or the 43. But if you get into the 17 or the 34, it's probably my hold. To be honest with you, but I shoot those well. I don't shoot the small ones well. I shoot other brands much better on the smaller guns. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like everybody's got a good fit for them. It doesn't mean that you have to dog on people's guns, but there's just certain things you're going to like.
Unless it's a Glock and their heart.
MMPs, those are only meant to be book holders.
The only MMP I've shot is it was the 40. It shot nice. It's the only time I ever shot a 40 cal too. But combination of both, they shot nice. Well, I guess I've shot the Shield, but as far as like the more full size ones, yeah.
So M. Gabriel asks if you've tried the tungsten grips for the 320.
I've not. I've literally just shot the factory configurations, last summer and the summer before, just the ones that they bring out. So just the regular polymer, nothing of the high end, other than, like I said, I have shots, because I think the tungsten grip, isn't that what the X5 Legion has?
Well, so both the Polymer 80 grip frame and the Wilson Combat grip frame that's offered, they have inserts in the magwell where you can buy tungsten weights to throw in there, just like if you wanted to have an X5 Legion. So
yeah, I've shot the X5 Legion, and that's an awesome shooting gun. It just is. That combination for me works really well, but it's also a big gun too.
Well, hold on. There's the X5 Legion, and then there's another one that's infused that came out later that's infused with metal particles too, right?
That's what I'm
Two
saying. Isn't
different.
that infused with tungsten?
I think there's an X5 that's just regular polymer, and then there's one with. I could be mistaken, but I think they're two different models.
I could be
Yeah,
wrong too. I thought they had the either way. Either way, I just shot the Legion. It was nice.
they have one that has, I think, tungsten weights, and then they have one that is tungsten infused, so into the frame.
Yeah, and I thought all the
with
X5s were that way.
along with tungsten weights. So that I think they have both ways.
Okay.
So
in fact, I shot one of those today because the guy that owns where I was at, he 2 years ago he got one for an anniversary present from his wife, and he let me shoot that today, and I shot it before because he wanted to shoot my PDP. So I'm like, yeah, let me shoot your Legion, I'll shoot your PDP. That's just a nice gun. So congratulations, Andrew Faulkner. It's a long way to go about saying that.
right, we get into a big old discussion before we can say congrats.
How does that work with the weights? Like, is it adjustable? Can you pull? I mean,
Yes.
I don't know. Is there like 5 different weights and you can pull 2 out?
3.
And it doesn't jiggle or anything.
So, like the ones I've seen, I think the factory has like 1 or 2 weights in the magwell that you can remove. And like the Wilson Combat and the Polymer 80 have 3 that you can put in there, and they have like different ounces.
Individual spots, or
Yeah, they have.
So same size but different weights.
Yeah, and well, the grip frame is the same, and then so you can put 3 separate weights in there, so that you could either put 1 weight in there and have it as as a certain ounce, or you could make it lighter or heavier, depending upon how many weights you put in there, and stuff like that. So you have that option also.
All right. So it's individual pockets then for each individual weight.
Yeah.
Okay. Just curious how they went about that, because I'm too broke to buy one of them.
Actually, the grip frames are like $50, $70, depending upon how you want to go, but which one you go with and stuff like that. And then you can pick up the weights for, I think, like $20 or $40, depending upon which brand you go with. So they're not horribly priced. And then if you just want, you can always just go with an Icarus Precision aluminum, and they offer that for the 365 or the 320. So you can always go that way. And those are, I think, around $300 for the frames.
Yeah, you can tell because it's the same size as my full size PDP, and it's a lot heavier.
So
That's kind of a thing. Seems like heavier guns are easier to shoot. Yeah, and that's something women probably have to come across. Not just women, but women and men. Just on the fact of holster sag, all types of different things. You'd assume heavier gun may be overall harder to conceal, but at the same time, maybe your best shooting gun. So it's kind of brings up another compromise when it comes into clothing and making a decision of what's best for an individual.
Yeah, it's much easier for me to shoot accurately with a heavier gun. That's why I was experimenting with that comp on my daughter's TX22. When a gun's really light, even though it's a full size, it wanders all over the place for me. So putting the comp on the end of that just made it not worried about the recoil on it, but it just made it easier to stay on target for me. So yeah, I think there's something to that. I think that's probably why I was off a little bit today too, because I've been shooting my 1911 more than anything lately, and hadn't picked up a polymer gun in a while.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I haven't picked up a polymer gun in a while.
Guess we should be happy the anti-gunners don't insist we all carry around 30-pound guns, so we can't mess with them.
Yeah, I walked away from a metal gun 2 nights ago just because I didn't really need it, but it was kind of cool. But it was an older SIG. They had an old German police SIG P6, which is the police version in East Germany of the P225, and just couldn't quite come together on price on it. But it's kind of a neat gun. But I needed another 9mm, like I need another hole in the head.
Those are pretty good money on the auction site. I mean, I've been tracking them, and they hit 800, 900 on a regular basis.
Yeah, I could buy it for $529, but it's missing the box and it's only got 1 mag. So to make it good to resell and collectible, I'd have to find those two. But I could buy it for $529. I offered them $500 flat out even, and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know if those magazines are, the same as the newer ones or not, but some of those magazines for those, H&Ks are, fetching $150, $200.
So,
well, like an original magazine, but you can they take the exact same mag as the P225. It's just a single stack 8. It's just by the time I would have bought it for what they wanted for it, and then bought the other stuff, then depends if you're using it for collectible. But if you ever want to sell it, you're going to have to spend some money to get your money back out of it. So there's other things that I want worse.
do we have any other topics we want to talk about? Anything from people out in the crowd?
How about a gun that you bought and hated it and wanted to get rid of it immediately?
SR-45.
For me, it was a SIG 250, P250.
I loved my SR9, but I bought that SR-45, and that thing was a jam-o-matic.
I've never had one. When I'm spending money, I guess I'd research like crazy in a sense. So thankfully, and I've been lucky and haven't gotten any lemons as well. So I don't know. I guess I've just been lucky.
I'm trying to think if there's any that I wouldn't say that I wanted to sell immediately, but there's a few that I have had and gotten rid of because I just didn't like them. So anyone else? Andrew says he's got a SAR B6 polymer CZ75 clone, and he doesn't like it.
Now's the
People
time
like
to sell
that SAR B6. I mean, it's supposed to be a pretty good gun. I think that's the one that beat the NATO record. Didn't they shoot 60,000 rounds without any hiccups?
Maybe it's just one of these guys. He just doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't shoot it well. That's how I felt about the APX I had. I tried real hard to like it, and I did. I just didn't shoot it worth a crap, so I traded it off for something else.
Yeah.
One of my coworkers, he was on vacation, so I think we're starting the week off with organic navies.
Organic what?
Organic navy beans is what we're going to be starting the week cooking. So, like I said, I work food manufacturing. Artax says that he'll give Andrew $5 for the B6 polymer right now. I'll make it $6.50.
So you work at a place where they can stuff?
No, we don't. We like dehydrate.
Oh, really?
So we'll cook it, we'll dehydrate it, and then we sell it to other companies.
Cook it in things the size of a building, right? Like cook it in mass.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we're cook. Our cooker is probably almost the same size as most people's house.
Yeah, right on.
The damn thing's huge.
So in other words, like when something is ripe or when something's done, like those beans or whatever, like these are when they got picked. So now is when we're making beans. Like that's how it works. Like it's not like you go, hey, let's make macaroni this week. It's more like, hey, we have macaroni, so we're making macaroni.
Yeah, we have. It depends on if we're doing, like peas or beans. We do a lot of different, like black beans, pinto beans, navies. Then we do some organics. We do yellow and green pea. So.
Holy crap! And these are all just being like a can of pea, well, like a bag of peas or something. It's not like turning it into rice pilaf or something where you're taking ingredients and cooking it.
So we'll cook it and dehydrate it, and then we sell it to other companies who may put it into animal food or may turn it into MREs. You never quite know exactly. We have one company that they take the product and then I don't know if they add other stuff to it, but then they bag it up and they sell it in the Texas prison system.
Ooh. I guess prisons are beyond cooking or making their own food for some amount of time.
So dog food, MREs, and prisons. What level is it? Like class A, B, C, D, Z?
So, yep.
That's pretty cool. I knew a guy that was similar, but not in the same kind of thing. So that's why I was curious. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I also used to work for a food manufacturing company that did sliced apples. And
that was it? Just doing that all the time?
Yeah, they did. Well, they did.
Was that for McDonald's to do the stupid kids meals?
They did a bunch of different brands. They had the diced apples for Chick-fil-A and Arby's that they put into their like salads and stuff. And they did Burger King French fries that were shaped like fries. That were out of apples.
Well, that would mess with you. Like, here, want a bunch of fries, and then you eat it, and it's just a bunch of raw apple instead of fries. That would. I don't know if I'd punch somebody for that, but I wouldn't be super happy about that.
Man,
Well,
but that tastes like crap with ketchup.
Yeah, they
How
were
many
there.
people fall in the cooker a year?
None. It's a big giant sealed unit, so there's certain ways that everything enters, and it's smaller than a human.
Let's say if you fall in there, you're just beans now. Like now you're just part of whatever kind of beans it was.
Yep.
Can it be used to make Soylent Green?
Say what?
It's like if 4 people fall in, it goes to the prison. If 6 people fall in, it goes to dog food.
Yeah, but Soylent Green's people.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
If like 8 people fall in, you can't call it sliced apples anymore. Now it's got to be fruit salad or something else.
Then it's barbecue. Haven't you seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
That's the other chat.
No, that's one way to stash a gun.
So
Wasn't that disturbing? Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where the girl's pulling the gun out of her crotch, man. Like that was disturbing, bro. Like, oh God.
Oh, I've got a friend who worked in the county jail. Those stories, it's not too disturbing after what stuff he's told me.
I was gonna say there's a lot
Damn,
more.
big ass revolver.
I'm telling you, you'd be surprised at what people stuff in what orifice and try to sneak it into what kind of cell. I'm just.
Well, I'm surprised they don't go right to a medical ward.
So. Yep. And I think we've killed the chat at that point. We're down to 6 people here.
They're all going to check that movie out now.
So we want to start doing our outros and plug-in stuff, not people. Mr. G-Webs, you got anything going on?
Appreciate the link and thanks for hosting a chat every week. It's cool to have a real conversation to listen to. But no, just barbecue's live right now. Does anybody else go live after him? I feel like Crump or somebody goes live after that, and then Gizzard, if he's back in the track, will be on tomorrow, and then Locked and Loaded, best chat all weekend or all week is tomorrow night. Appreciate the opportunity to chat.
You're welcome, and thanks for joining the panel. So, Defense Dad, what do you got coming up?
Oh, I'll put the video together from some of the footage today, and got some other stuff coming up. But thanks for letting me on tonight. Not very often I actually have a Saturday off. I usually work weekends, so it's kind of fun.
Thank you for joining. Didn't you just release a video last few hours?
Not last few hours. I just put it's like as a 15-second teaser of what's coming. Just on Instagram. It's just on Instagram, which is it. If anybody wants to look at it, it's Defense Dad 1 on Instagram. I've been kind of putting out one video a week. Not all I have time for anymore.
Yep. So I definitely want to plug our Attack and Daughters channel. They put out videos almost every day, it seems like. And, definitely congrats on breaking 1K. So I will now jump down to the Glock hater extraordinaire, Rob D.
Yeah, if you want to, I don't know, vicariously go on a hike. I just released a little video about a small hike just a little while ago. Obviously, there's R&L displays. If you're interested in a display stand, G23 will save you 15%. And besides that, just thanks for the invite, and thanks for joining us. And congratulations, G23, for completing your parole.
I think you left us speechless.
He spoke too soon. He had to put his ankle monitor back on.
Crap. I had my mic muted. So thanks, Rob, and thanks for being a pretty good staple on the channel. You're here almost every single week. And wheeled and well armed, what do you got coming up?
First, G-Webs, thank you for your Ring of Fire recount and history and everything you gave us there. That was a good, entertaining spot there. And
thanks for the chance to say it again. It's been a while since I had.
Yeah, and so I'm doing the last of my holster draws. So I've been with I've got about 6 different holsters. Probably 8 different holsters that are wheelchair mounted. And so over the last 3 weeks, I've gone down from about 4 seconds to tomorrow's video will be about 1.5 seconds. So different holsters, different speeds, but getting better and better on all of them. So that'll be the last of all my holster draw videos. So that one's the Comtac tomorrow, and that's the competition holster, and they're all below 2 seconds on those draws. I did catch myself cheating when I was watching the review. I actually had my hand on the pistol on 2 different draws. Just I don't know what I was thinking, but it was a pretty good day, and a lot of good shots, so fun. But I'm not getting very many comments, so I guess people are tired of them. So I'll have to figure out something else to do. But I'm almost at 1,000 subs now, so I'm up. I think I'm up to 910, and I do have the giveaway with the Radical Firearm 6.8 SBC upper coming up as soon as I hit that 1,000.
Before when I entered it, I was like still completely against ARs, but now I have an AR lower. Might be something worth winning. So
yeah,
hopefully you hit 1K here pretty soon. So congrats again, and thank you for joining the panel.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. DM Foss, co-host extraordinaire, what do you got going on?
Me, nothing. Not much right now. Just say for two-way swag, check out gearwebsites.com, and he's usually got stuff up on eBay. I put a link to his eBay section. Go see what he's got up on eBay. Usually some of his 2A stuff and like magazines, and he's got some other stuff up there now. Go check him out, see what he's got going on.
Appreciate that. I've got a garage sale up there now, so everything from every corner of you can imagine is up there. So appreciate it.
So definitely G-Webs does a hell of a lot for the channels in 2A. So definitely a great guy to help support. And every Friday he does free packs Friday. So if you buy a pack, you get a free pack. So I want to say welcome to Roro, who's out in the crowd. But at this point in time, we're bailing. So See you all next Saturday, and definitely keep a round in the chamber.
Bye bye.